Rain falling in your face doesn't compare to the young man in pain, and it stays when you don't want to break all of those things that make you run away. Your love's like a battery charging my heart right now, and though you left all the things you had but not just found, and I know you had to go but left me not to know, like a snake's tongue is stung, but I have to show your battery.
Ben, before we start talking about him,
I'm back.
nice to be back, mate. Tell everyone about your refereeing escapades a couple of weeks ago.
You know what?
There's some allegations of cheating going on.
I thought it was a great event.
It was a good game.
I thought it was probably, it was the smoothest it went. But there was one person missing. The football that was played by the Olders, like, God, it was like fucking Prime Barcelona, wasn't it?
So for anyone who doesn't know, we're talking about the Healy Memorial football match played a couple of weeks ago. Llanrumney Old Boys against basically our sons and friends.
And I tried bringing in all the new rules.
Oh, you
like
did?
the 5 seconds for...
Why are you bothering? They're not doing it in the World Cup.
Well, it worked in our game, didn't it? It worked in our game.
You nearly sent me off for doing that.
He nearly sent Rod off for, like, hiding his...
I was eating.
I didn't realise how weak he was, but the first goal the kids scored, right? Honest to God, I thought, fuck, my mother could have saved that. Yeah, right. He went down in stages to his left, and then
what happened?
Then he pulls out this worldie to the right, like
I made 2 of them top handers.
People with that shot, they thought I should have given a goal kick. But I said he saved it, like he's tipped it on the post, so he was right.
A couple of times, Sam said to me, "You've never saved that."
It was Gordon Banks-esque.
And
don't give him man now.
And to be fair, Sam told me he was going to score, and he did. It was a goal, wasn't it?
Oh yeah,
and he come over and rubbed my head in the rubber as well.
I did want Sam to take a penalty because I had a little plan, because he was diving on every penalty, and I went up to Sam. I said, Sam, just dink it down the middle because he's diving. And just take the piss out of your father. Just dink it. He went, aye.
He was next up, wasn't he?
And I said, whatever happens anyway, if he stands there and saves it, I'll make it. You'll retake it anyway. Like so.
Yeah. I saved one.
I thought I'd done
Kate Stitful on the goal line. He's off his line on the camera.
I thought I'd done well, referee-wise.
Good Kate. Well done, Kate. And then in fairness to her, Kate went, well, you're off your line on all of them. I was like, okay.
She was my VAR.
I know.
She was, Phil.
I know. Good though. So
let me tell you where I was that day.
Oh yeah. So I was about to ask you that.
So I was in Manchester. My eldest son, he's in a band. Both kids are in a band, but he was in a final of one of these Battle of the Bands, and it's heavy metal. So I'm in this heavy metal club in the centre of Manchester, right, from 4:30 in the afternoon. I'll just give you a quick rundown. There was a man in there with a kilt and a cape and a beard down to his navel. But my favourite, there was a guy, black trainers, black jeans, black t-shirt, and a pink tutu. It was that type of place. I was so drunk by the end of the night, but my lads' band were brilliant, so I did enjoy it. So I missed it for once.
Did they do well?
Yeah, really well. They had great feedback from them. They actually got an invite to the club that runs that over in Liverpool for their final. So they're not in the final, but they got an invite to play on finals night. So they must have done well.
So it's worth it.
Good. Yeah, we weren't there, and it was the general consensus after, because Bridge didn't come back to the club afterwards. General consensus was it ran better without you being there.
I was going to say, even while I was in the change rooms after.
Yeah.
Well, two people.
That was the vibe I was getting.
Two people who weren't there, Gareth and Joe Blackwell. Joe Blackwell obviously winds you up every time we play. So Joey wasn't there either.
Yeah. Most things do run better without me.
You know what? I don't think I had any abuse. It was quite...
I doubt that's true.
No,
I think Di Blackwell gave him a little bit of abuse.
That's fair enough.
Di Blackwell, by the way, got Dick of the Day again, because Di Blackwell missed a penalty again.
I would have given...
He's been doing that since he was
the one who
9.
played on the right-hand side? He was playing for them. He was fucking useless. Oh, what was his name? He was at... I don't know. He was useless for the oldies. But some of the football, I got to be honest.
It was good, wasn't
It
it?
was a pleasure to watch.
I doubt that, but we'll move on. We'll move on.
Di Blackwell missed a penalty again. His old man was stood behind the post. I turned to Peter. He just shook his head. And I said, has he ever scored, Pete? He went, no.
Di Blackwell, right? Listen, there's a good place to start my footballing days. Di Blackwell was missing penalties for Llanrumney when he was 9. So I used to take all the free kicks in the corners and all that, right? And Di Black, he was a brilliant player, right? I'll say that on camera. Di was brilliant as a kid, very, very good player. But he was captain, right? So he's been made captain. So every time we got a penalty now, he feels that he gets to choose who takes it. So he used to take them, and he used to miss, and he used to miss them, or like I reckon he must have taken in my time playing with him in junior football before we moved on to other clubs. I reckon he took 6 penalties, and I reckon he missed 5 of them.
Di has actually said that he would like to come on the podcast.
There we are.
No wonder he turned out to be a teacher.
Yeah. He was power mad at 9. He was, yeah. But in fairness, Dave Blackwell, you were a good player.
So that all started...
You were shit as an adult, but you were very good.
I was going to say, Gav. Just to say Dave Blackwell, you was an adult player.
No, honestly, no.
Did he regress?
No, I got to give him credit. I actually remember, right, we had a presentation when we were both still playing for Llanrumney back in the day. It was in a youth club, and Eddie Howarth, God rest his soul, was MC in it. He used to run the club at the time, and he actually said, I still remember it now, he said, in Player of the Year, if this lad doesn't turn professional, he wants his ass kicked, David Blackwell. That's how good he was. So anyway, let's stop talking about him now, because he's probably bigger than mine now.
So starting on that, obviously we're down in Llanrumney's dressing rooms again.
Yeah.
You started down here, so you would have been training in the old barn.
Dutch barn, yeah.
Dutch barn. Playing out here on the old pitch with the wooden goals.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was, remember that? They were, remember the crossbar and bowling.
They were square, weren't they?
Yeah.
Proper old school one.
How old was Llanrumney High School?
How old were you then when you...
I first played for the under-10s when I was 8.
Who was playing? I didn't ask.
Blimey, so it would have been the kids older than me, so trying to think who you would have known. So if I was 8, that means top age would have been like Billy Williams was the goalkeeper, there was Adam Maggs. Not many people in that age actually that went on to play like senior football or anything like that. But the age below was David Blackwell, Gareth Daly, myself. There was a brilliant striker we had, I remember, called Sean Bolt. He was brilliant. Scored loads of goals. He went on to play with Craig Bellamy's team up the top of the hill then. Carl Ford, good day. And I had, Kai Castell was the team up on the top of the hill there. Craig Bellamy and
Robert
Wareham and people like that. They were a very good side. Alan Beer was my first manager. We inducted Alan Beer last week into Llanrumney United's Hall of Fame. He's obviously club legend. He's been around 40, 50 years now, isn't he, in the club? So he was my first manager.
How long were you here?
But we used to, the problem with Llanrumney back then was that we used to, we didn't play under 11s, under 13s, under 15s, right? So one year you'd be playing in the correct year, and the next year you were going up and mixing with a load of kids that were a year older, and at that age it matters, and you might be, whereas you might have been, Blackwells and people like that would be all right, but if you weren't one of the top players back then, you might be sub or you might be in and out of the team, that sort of thing. And this is back before equal playing time. Yeah. So I was with Llanrumney until I was in the under 14s anyway, right? It was a bit frustrating because I had 2 years of, whereas we had a good side, and let's say we had a good side in the under 12s, you'd think, well, I'm going to go to the under 13s next year. We could be in the top 2 or 3 teams in that league, but no, you're going up to the under 14s. And then we were playing against people like Sammy and Misbah and Civil Service who used to smash everyone. So that was always a bit frustrating, and it was halfway through the season in the under-14s, that age where people are starting to drop away, and I remember a few of us all just basically had enough at the same time, and Di Blackwell and Jonathan Murphy, bless him, went off and played for Glenwood, because there was, I'm sure the guy that was running Glenwood was meant to be a Tottenham scout. I'm sure that was the story, right?
Drop any old shit in, can you?
That old chestnut.
Just turn it with Aston Villa.
Come and sign for me. I'm a scout for Tottenham.
Yeah, it may or may not have been true. And I went off to play for Cardiff Z Sports, which at the time was a big side.
Z Sports.
Yeah, big side, big team at the time, good team as well, some real good players in that team. A good story with that one. So I've been going, Llanrumney weren't a very good side then, right? So mid-table, and Z Sports were one of the sort of top 2 or 3, right? Good players in the team, and we didn't have any of the fashionable lads, not like Craig Bellamy playing for Co-hostr, or like Stuart Cleverley was playing for Whitchurch, and some good players like, and we were all the misfits, I would say, all the decent enough players, but no one who's like, oh, he's playing for Norwich or all of this. Right? So anyway, I ended up at Cardiff City. So I've been going for weeks now to Z Sports. Oh, is my transfer form being done like that, like kids, naive, and the manager's going, oh, I haven't come back through yet. I haven't come back. Martin Poole, this is. Right, yeah, I haven't come back through. So anyway, I go to training on Monday with Cardiff City like normal. And Martin Poole turns up with his son, who's got a trial. And I'm like, all right, Matt, like that. And he's looked at me like that, and he's gone, fuck. Transfer form was done 2 days later. Have you seen that? he obviously thought, oh, he's coming from Llanrumney. My mate who I was going there with actually wasn't the best. He'd been playing with him for years, and he was coming towards the end. And yeah, I had 2.5 really enjoyable seasons with Z Sports. We finished runner-up in the league the once. We got to the cup final. My last game, though, for Z Sports, right? Cup final, we're 2-1 up with 5 minutes to go.
Who are you playing?
Bellamy, Co-hostr. Bellamy scores hat-trick, we lost 5-2. That was my last game in junior football.
While we'll go on to later on referees in general as a topic of conversation, there's one dad told me about a famous time, which is a family tradition, family folklore with us. There's a famous game that he played for Z Sports against Bellamy at the top. Go on, you could say what happened. So
this was the day Craig Bellamy bit a chunk out of Liam Heelan's ear. True story, yeah. Yeah, bit a chunk out of his ear in a melee. And there was this referee, and he used to work for the bank. Everyone thought he was a copper, but he wasn't. He was a bank manager, right? And he was about... I grew to like him in the end, but I'm going to say Stuart was 5'3" at the most, right? And he had that, what people call little man syndrome.
Stuart Chittenden, his name was.
Stuart Chittenden. And anyway, it was one of them. I used to, in the end, say to him, should we just get out the way now as we're walking over to the pitch and just give me a yellow now, and then we'll just get on with it. It was one of them. So anyway, he's booked me in the first half against Co-hostr, of course he has. And then as the game's going on, he's giving silly free kicks against me, but I haven't even touched the guy. He gave a corner. He said it had gone out of play, right? When I was hitting an in-swinger with my right foot. So I was like, well, how's that possible? Right, so anyway, I actually said to the manager, only time I ever said it in my life, I said to the manager, I said, you better take me off. I said, because in a minute, I'm getting another yellow here. For kicking off or for attack, whatever it was going to be. So it's all kicking off now. Stuart Chittenden sends a father off. Right, and the father's going...
At the leisure, this is, Mike.
Yeah, it's a public field at the leisure centre. So the father's going, it's a public field, I'm just here walking the dog, I've nothing to do with this game. I'm finding that funny. Right? So I laughed, and he turns and looks at me, right, and he goes, oh, you think it's funny, do you? Straight red. What? No. 3-match ban.
But what's funny, the whole thing with that is, right, so where's Stuart's little man syndrome, probably little me. The following week, he's reffing me down here. And we found out in the week.
No, it was when I came back. I think it was my first game back after the ban, and we're playing on Rofrec. And we told my grandfather this story, and he'd gone, I know Stuart. I used to work with Stuart in the bank for years. Da, da, da. So anyway, my dad said to him, go and tell him. So before the next game, I've run over, I've gone, referee, and he's looked at me thinking, oh, here we go. I've gone, do you know John Morgan? And he went, yes, know John Morgan. I said, that's my granddad. He says hello. And he went, oh, that explains a lot then. I know where you get it from and all that. But here's how bent it is. I didn't change at all. From that day, he never booked me again.
And he never did anything to me either.
He never booked me again.
Always
After that day, no matter how bad the tackle was, how late it was, he never booked me again.
We were talking about the whole thing with referees there, that whole, you've got to go. I'm just walking my dog up the leg of it. Like, you can't make me go anywhere. Away, and I'll call the game off.
That game actually got abandoned that day. Yeah. Because I'd had my red card, I was already halfway to the changing rooms, but it all kicked off again. It had gone about 3 times.
Yeah, Dad said to me, I was walking your brother back to the dressing room, and then he had the red mist and he wanted to go back.
Yeah, I was like, all right. I think I was going to take a 50-yard runner.
Not like him to walk away quietly.
No. It was my dad. Come with me, you little shit!
So wait there, so like you said, Rod, we're obviously going to talk about
other stuff later.
Your latter career
we'll
in
go on about
referees.
Oh yeah, we
So
love
is
that.
this like, you know, like, is this like the trauma you had as a kid then?
Dislike for referees.
So it just
It's all because of Stuart Chittenden.
So this is, you're getting the excuse in early.
All because of Stuart Chittenden. It's all his fault. It's nothing to do with me.
So whatever happened later,
It's not my character flaw. It's all Stuart Chittenden's fault.
all the white papers are down to Stuart.
One man.
All the white papers.
One man, because he sat there laughing.
All the white papers.
How many have you had?
Come on. It's not many. It's not
How many
many.
have you had?
Not many.
Oh, yeah, because half of yours got fucking thrown in the bin.
Yeah, my mistake.
I was thinking this when you asked me on. I was thinking,
Who's had the most?
There was a good few. That one season, there was a good few.
you were worse than me.
No chance.
I think.
This is how I can prove that I was not worse than you in the dugout. Do you remember that game at my steg? Do you remember how much you lost your head? What did you do?
Spat at someone, didn't
You
you?
spat at me, didn't you? That's how much you lost your head.
That was never going to go. That was going to come.
An elephant, you know,
That was going to come up.
When we had
You went by technical area.
Definitely
Coming to my
won.
technical area.
I definitely
You
won.
can spit at him.
I definitely won. But Dodd, when we had him on the other week, he said, I can't believe he didn't mention Bridgie spat at you. So I went, oh, get it in.
I got away with that.
It's Dog's fault.
I thought I got away with that.
So that's
no way I was as bad as you.
That's your first one with the referees then. Obviously you had a couple of years at Z Sports.
Yeah.
Where'd you go after that?
Well, straight into Cardiff Met then.
So on Cardiff Met, another point that I've had from Dad on this.
Yeah.
Apparently when you first turned up for the training, you told them you were a forward or a midfielder.
Striker.
And they put you right back.
Correct. Yeah, but that's all right. That's what happens in trials, isn't it? That's all right.
Would you do that? Or would you throw your toys at the pram? I'm a striker. I know the answer, Rich.
Yeah, but the thing is, as long as I was... my ball, when I was 18, as long as I was taking the corners and free kicks, I didn't really care.
Saying that, later on in life,
Yeah.
I would play wherever the gaffer told me.
Yeah.
So if he said right back,
Yeah.
I played in goals for my state park against someone that the keeper got in. No, it was Croesyceiliog United against my state park, and the keeper was injured, and I said I'll go in goals.
Do you know, we had the trials, obviously the trials initially, but the people who made it through that, when you then went to train with a senior squad, right?
Who was gaffing up there then?
It just finished. So, what was his name with the curly blonde hair? He was actually a very good player. I can't remember his name, it's so long ago. But we trained, right? And the first training session was 2 hours. First hour on the grass pitch, remember the old grass pitch, yeah. Cardiff Met? And then onto the AstroTurf for the second hour. Oh my God, after the first hour, I thought it was going to be like, one sure how I'd get home. Anyway, I made it to the end of training. It's only 2 hour, it's pre-season, but it's brutal, isn't it, when it's students. And I had to get a bus home. So I thought I'll just walk to Newport Road because I was just feeling like I was going to puke. So I thought I'll be sick on a bus. So I just just walking. Got a couple of cans of pop on the way down to the bus. I don't think I ate for another 24 hours after. I just felt so sick. It was so much harder than anything I'd done before for 2 full hours. That was a big eye opener. And do you remember Phil Clark?
Yeah, correctly.
So I actually went up and trained with him at the sports campus because I was mainly down on co-hostr at the time. I went up and trained with him on my own a few times to try and, because he was a flying winger back then, Phil Clark. I know he became a left back. But yeah, it's fucking good experience, but it's very professional, isn't it?
Oh, it was a shock to my system when I went up there.
It's good. Yeah,
I love the training.
It's the mentality. It's the professional mentality.
John McGee was gaffer the first year I was there. Then he went.
Yeah.
And then that's when Gavin and Mitch took over.
But he had 2 stints, though, didn't he, Mitch? I think.
Did he have 2?
I think so. Because I can still see the guy now. Because he used to, we do these things in training, and he'd go, do you want a demo? Because he knew he was good, right? And he'd so one of the ones was you had to juggle the ball into the middle, do a trick, and then juggle it all the way back. So of course most people catch it on their neck or do something in it or a little flick.
Once you have it.
He did this. Just fucking toe punter. I kicked it up in the air. But I used to like that trick where you jab in between your thigh and your chin. But anyway, he's done this thing, right, and he's gone into the middle and he's flicked it. And he's sort of turned around and he's sort of done this flick with his shoulders like that. And the ball sort of gained, and it's just gone straight up in the air, miles, and it's come down, he's controlled it and juggled it all the way back. He was an absolute technician, right? So he always used to demo. But I loved the training. The thing I didn't like about it was Tuesday would be fitness. Obviously Wednesday would be bucks then. Yeah. So you'd be playing that tired. And then Thursday would be a lot more like ball work and that.
Practical, yeah.
And the turnout on Thursday was always better than Tuesday, and he used to wind me up. Because I'd be thinking, there's people here on scholarships and they're not training on Tuesday.
Did they have the PFA boys up there then?
No.
They didn't. They stopped having them then?
No. But it was very professional, and it was the thing that years later when I went back playing against them as a manager and a coach, I was shocked at how far it fell before Christian came in and took it over and built it back
That
up.
was my first introduction into football psychology.
Yeah.
Oh, you work?
Yeah. They had me in in the classrooms in one of the blocks
Yeah,
up there,
yeah.
and I was like, what the fuck is all this about?
Do you know what they were saying that? And I know you've commented on LinkedIn. Have you seen Dear England with Southgate? You haven't seen that, have you?
It's worth watching.
Didn't Mitch work? He worked for him, didn't he?
I believe so.
Mate, you watch that, and I know it's a loosely done
Wales, yeah.
around Southgate's tenure, but you look at stuff like that, the psychology side of it, of things that just explain to players about they're afraid to fail. And then the way they break it all down, you think it's really fucking interesting.
It's actually very well made. I was sceptical. I thought, I'm not going to watch that. And then I thought, well, I'll just watch the first half hour, and it's really good.
Yeah, Mitch, that was my first introduction. Like they had setting goals and targets and all that. I was like, okay, well, I'm a fag at half time.
That's a step forward for you, though, wasn't it?
But he was with. I'm pretty sure, 100% sure, he was with Southgate.
It wouldn't surprise me because it was very much.
He was with Coleman. With
Wales. It's what people say about
him.
him.
The Welsh FA wouldn't pay.
Yeah.
To keep him on board, and then he buggered off to the English FA. So I'm pretty sure he did with Southgate.
Yeah.
Bloke, Mitch,
So you were there for a while. Did you finally make it up front?
Oh yeah.
You started your right back.
Yeah. I think anyone who watched me play right back too often would pretty much tell I'm not a right back.
How long were you at Met for then?
I only played there for first and second year.
Because this part of your story, it's like, so where did you go after?
Brecon.
You went up to Brecon?
Yeah. That was the most interesting season of my life, because we were getting.
Enjoy that track?
I hate the journey. Wasn't interested. I actually quite liked it. It was almost like going off signing somewhere, but that was hard because the club was on its ass, and they were losing every single week. And I loved the manager, Harry Bridgeman.
No relation.
No, he definitely wasn't. Harry Bridgeman, right? God rest his soul. Probably the most fun I had. I was losing every week. So imagine me losing every week and I'm still loving it. I would have jumped off a bridge for that bloke. He was a legend, right? And but just great fun. But he was a taxi driver. And it got to about a month before the end of the season, and I was like, I'm staying with you. You're my man, right? We'll see it through. We'll get the season done. We're going down, but that's it. And the club sacked him like that, right? And I was like, fucking hell, what's going on here? He was a documentary was made about him and his life driving taxis and all of that, right? And then about a year later, he's not around anymore, right? But God love him.
Like, what did Daddy do?
And he was
gonna tell a story.
He was selling pornos in his taxi. So out of his taxi. So of course, like normally that wouldn't really matter that much, like especially back then pre widespread internet and all
Side
that.
hustle.
But the problem was, because he was Dave Bridgeman from the documentary, when he then gets prosecuted, it's all over the news. So Brecon sacked him. And I tell you, I turned up one day, I didn't even know he'd been sacked. Got up to Brecon. Guess who's interim manager? You'll never guess this, but interim manager, Jeff Buckingham.
Was it?
Who now runs South Wales FA and all of that, yeah. Because that was Bucko's club.
So getting to the point, could you buy any porno off?
The thing I'm most
That was his payment.
the thing I'm most offended about. Well, I didn't get him fucking pornos then. No. I can still. No, I didn't. And the thing I'm most fuming about, right, is that he never offered me one. I'm so insulted. So I'm thinking, what did he think to not offer me one of these videos? But you remember because it was the same year he was also manager of, who were our rivals with Broadway?
That's another story I got.
What were they called? Gower Sports. It was us and Gower Sports at the top of the league, right? And it was us and them. And we beat them last game of the season to win the league. Well,
sponsored by the brothel on Croesyceiliog.
When I've scored, right? When I've scored, we've got two of the boys. One of them's bending over in front of him. The other one stood behind him going like this. And I'm stood on the side like that with a camera. He was raging. Absolutely raging.
Is that the game?
That's class.
Yeah. Is that the game that you had, or tell me what game it was, where you turned up on crutches so that they didn't think you were playing? You went out to the pitch on crutches, and then you fucking literally did the old Seth Rollins in wrestling and going like that and took all his kit off and he had everything on. And
that was the following season.
That was on Road.
But yeah, so it was them, and it was the following season, and the game actually got called off because I had properly mangled both ankles playing five-a-side, and this was the start of the end of me playing. I then had weak ankles that I should have done stuff more than I did to put them right.
How old were you then?
22, 23. But when I say I'd mangled them, I mean, like, I was still walking along perfectly flat ground at the age of 40 and my ankle just going underneath me for no reason at all. I did it when we were on our sea license.
Was that a tackle or was that...
No, it was even worse. It's comical. I wish it had been a tackle. It would have sounded more manly. So we're playing five-a-side, and I've gone over to block a shot with my right foot, funny angle, right? And the ball has sort of hit me, knocked me off balance, and I've tried to land. I've come down and I've landed on my right ankle, right? And then obviously you jump when you do that, don't you? It makes you sort of... Yeah. And I've done my left ankle at the same time, so I've done both in the same thing. So I'm lying there in a mangled heap on the floor.
Both ankles.
And it won't surprise you to hear, right, that I was a dirty bastard in five-a-side. So everyone's like, they're loving watching me on the floor. And
used to bury people in the wall.
Right? And honestly, it was bad, and I didn't realise how bad it was. But after about 5 weeks, I was like, oh, it's okay. It's getting better now. It's getting better. But I never missed five-a-side on Mondays once it was better. So, whereas I should have just left it a while longer, try and get him stronger, strap him and all that, I kept playing 5-a-side, and then it was completely fucked for the rest of the week. So we were playing, what are they called? Gala Sports, and they knew I'd been out for weeks.
It was.
So I turned up on the crutches, and I was going to play, but I wasn't right. So I was on all sorts of painkillers and that. But I did it in the changing room.
He had kit underneath, of course, different things, and they just on the crutches, then go. I'm too fat and unfit to do it now. But I put the crutches down. You know that thing where you jump and kick your own ankle and then jump and I did that and all that in the changing room.
Go again.
I know. It's, yeah. So that was the start of the end for me of being able to play properly, because I'd be fine for 2-3 months, and then I'd just, like I said, I'd be walking along the pavement in flat shoes and bang, it'd go on, and it was exactly like it was on day one again. And it was like that for at least 15, 16 years. It was like that until it strengthens. Like.
So that was the Gower Sports days, that's before your Llanrumney days, isn't it? So that's Broadway snooker.
Playing?
That's Broadway snooker, isn't it?
Yeah, Broadway snooker, yeah.
Fucking
what an experience. I mean, it's only Sunday
talk
league,
about
but
it,
honestly,
wow.
some of the best
Some of
days.
the best laughs, Sunday.
Some of the best
That was
days.
Carl Warren and Darren Ainsworth.
Yeah,
Williamson,
Phil Allen.
Phil Allen,
yeah.
He loved the tackle or two.
Yeah, great player. And Andy Gorman as well, the ex-Cardiff City player. Was in
we
the
had
team.
such a good side.
Fair play.
So Andy Gorman, right? It was obviously a low level of football, and Andy especially shouldn't really have been playing, but he was playing with all his mates. This is how easy it was to play up front when you got someone like Andy Gorman at the back. The ball would go in his feet, and you'd see there's no pressure on the ball. And as a youngish forward, right, you just turn and run towards the opposition goal, right? And the ball would just appear in front of you. You didn't even have to look over your shoulder. You just knew that if he'd made eye contact with you, and you know when a proper player hits a ball, there's no like the ball going up over the clouds and then down. This thing goes about 10 feet in the air the whole way.
What footed was Andy?
I'm going to say right, but I wouldn't swear on it.
When I played, I used to find it was the left footers, like
Zipper.
from the back, it could zip over that. Your Timmy Lawtons, Mark Johnson used to be able to do it.
I had to confess to Andy Gorman one day, right? We were in the Broadway Snooker Club, which was interesting.
What a fucking place.
Interesting place. And
I was in there at 15. What a place.
Sitting there, beers, and I'm sat with him, right? I didn't really know him up to this point very well. But you know when you're sitting there chatting, like, and I said, Andy, I gotta confess something to you. He's like, what? I said, I've been feeling bad ever since we've been in the same changing room. He's like, what's that? And I went, you know that game on Boxing Day when you played for Cardiff City against York, and you had a nightmare, and you scored, and they took you off half time, and everyone was booing you? Because I went, I booed you. And he went, that's all I got, everyone did, mate, I had an absolute shocker. He had a nightmare. It was when they were top of the league with York. Kevin Ratcliffe was playing for them, and he played on Boxing Day. It was probably a full house down Ninian Park, and yeah, he had an absolute disaster.
Crocker was there with him then, wasn't he? Was Crocker with him then?
Don't know, but Taz Ainsworth was in the youth team with him back then as well.
Good player. Dan.
Yeah, but what a character though, Darren Ainsworth, Andy Gorman.
I love
like that.
I went on football tour with Darren Ainsworth to Portugal, and I just leave it there.
What a character.
I thought we'd been on nights out with him, I'd leave that there at all.
I totally get, and I played at the Quins with Darren.
Yeah, well that was always his spiritual home, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think Nicky Tucker, talk about him again, Nicky Tucker got him out of Grange Quins.
Well, another one.
He got him
out to doing things
no,
like
but it's similar. He got him out of
Tap.
He got him out of Grange Quins, which is obviously Darren's spiritual home, and I think Darren made him pretend he was paying him because Tux had persuaded him to come for nothing, right? And I think he was there 4 games and he went back. He just hated it without his mates.
Wasn't there? So he didn't have the coming in the changing room and it's great God in the toilet.
No.
Tux and
No.
Little brown envelope.
No.
Fair play.
No, not back then. That was pre-Tafswell paying anything.
But that was such a good side, that was.
It was brilliant, and unfortunately that team came to an end. But I could miss 2-3 weeks in a row with the ankle, even just with that.
So did you get...
I started coaching kids then, and I sort of caught the bug for coaching. Do you know what I mean?
2 seconds, I got to go back to Broadway snooker. So I'm intrigued.
I still wake up in cold sweats about Broadway snooker, to be honest.
So how many Mondays did you not work while playing for Broadway snooker?
I was a student most of the time.
Bridge, there's another question you might want to answer.
You can't.
My mum don't watch this. There might have been the odd Monday I didn't go to school.
Yeah.
Go down, honestly, it was go down after we play. I played with them at 15, 16, 17, and same thing Gareth saying, hey, just run away and the boys find you. I played on the wing then, and literally they just go, just stand out there, we'll pass you the ball, cross it.
Yeah.
It's such an easy thing to do.
But you know where they used to go, and it got to the point, because I was a student as well, so I was out in the weeks and all that. It was,
Well, you were sober.
It's amazing I lasted until 23 before I got a fucking decent injury. So,
because you do like a beer, don't you?
Yeah. It's the first dry episode. I've had
It's about 70 degrees outside, that's why.
Yeah, it's joking. So for about a year, and this is while I was playing for Broadway, this was my schedule. I'd be out on Tuesday with people from work. I go out on Wednesday after football. I go out on Thursday with the people from work for Zeus 70s night.
Zeus.
With Lionel Vinyl, dancing with wigs on in Zeus.
Where's Zeus?
I don't know.
Is that the one opposite Park Plaza? It's not Oceana or something down here.
Yeah, opposite Park Plaza. Yeah.
Opposite, well, there's been loads of things, haven't there?
Next door to Brannigan's.
Yeah.
What a place that is.
Next door to we're going back now. And then
Co-hostr.
Burnt down, didn't that far back.
So where was I? Zeus on a Thursday, and then you'll like this. Didn't go out Friday because I had football Saturday.
Professional mentality.
And then Saturday I'd be out with my mates from home, local. And then Sunday, Mega Bowl down the bottom of the hill. Used to be student night, pound a pint, so I'd be in there.
God, remember that? I forgot that was it.
Remember?
And then at one point, my mate Lawrence Porch and Jonathan Murphy, God rest his soul, we were in Dillon's on a Monday. So it's a wonder I made it to 23, really.
Mate, tell a couple of funny stories just about Mega Bowl, pound a pint on a Sunday, Losey.
Oh, well.
Martin knows. Right? A couple of times we sat there, and of course it's all wood in it, and disappear, walk in, all of a sudden you just hear the ball rolling. Just got a ball, just come in the bar, just fucking throwing the ball, just rolling across the bar, smack into the bar, get out.
He's kicked out. Then the one week, the best one ever, I did. The one week, I'm actually working, so I've said I'll pick him up on the way home. Pulled in a car, and Martin comes running out the door. You know, like a bin,
those
in the shape of a Coke can.
He had a Fiesta.
He's running out with this Coke can. He wants to fit it in my car. Because he's trying to nick it.
The security guards stood at the door, right? You know, like the security guards normally go like, no, they're trying to wrestle him. The security guards just stood at the door, just looking at him, going, what are you doing? Taking this home.
But to finish the Broadway bit with the drinking, they were different level. Yeah. Even though I was out all the time, I couldn't keep up with them. And they used to go to the Maltins, and it was £1 a pint on a Sunday. And they used to make an almighty mess of themselves.
Oh, hang on.
And I didn't have it in me very often.
What else did they do with the Maltins?
Well, all sorts of things, to be honest. Not anything I'd want to grasp.
Sunday dinner for £3.
Yeah.
So as we joked, I'd go out with a tenner, I'd have 3 dinners and a pint. Mate, the fucking Sunday dinner in that place was incredible.
Yeah. So
go home, mum, and say, it's not food. No.
It's funny. Obviously, we weren't playing at a great level of football, but that team was nonsensically good. Like.
And then you went into kids coaching.
Yeah, so I started while I was injured.
How did you get into kids coaching?
It was do you know what? I still remember the moment. So I still remember the moment when I was. Hey, listen, this is how cool I was. I was one of the first people to have a mobile phone in my friends group.
Right. Flip phone as well.
And John Lawrence, remember John Lawrence? John Lawrence was running Marlborough Sports under 14s, and he phoned me. And yeah, I just went and did one session with his lads. They were a decent side, they weren't like top of the league or anything. And just went from there, and I got to the end of the season, and one of the kids teams a couple of years younger had lost their manager, and he said, "Do you want to go and do that?" And I was like, "Yeah." And it just went from there, really. So I think I took him over under 14s. I think we finished 4th. Previous season in the A-League, they'd virtually gone down the year before. And then second year we won the league, third year we won the double.
You brought a lot of boys in from Pentwyn area.
Well, what we tended to do was teams would fold, the best player would go to Whitchurch, right? And then we'd probably pick up the 2 or 3 next best players, right? So probably the big one was, don't want to talk too long about junior football, but Hale here, the Lanishon area, isn't it? They folded. Gareth Taylor, the boss of the team, went to Whitchurch, but we signed 3 players and they were unbelievably good. So we did better out of that deal. And then, so we won the league that year, we lost in the cup final, still don't know how we lost that. And then the following year we went unbeaten, we won the double. But the following year was when we brought in Croesy Davis, obviously from Llanrumney. He was playing for Pentwyn. Robert George, the goalkeeper, we signed. Phil Campbell was with us for 2 years. It was a very, very good side. And a few of them went on to do okay Welsh League. I still say to this day, Phil Campbell should have been a professional. But you know his lifestyle. Honestly, that boy's eye for goal was
he that good?
Unbelievable.
Oh, he was class. As a kid, he was phenomenal.
Yeah.
You've seen many a player.
Yeah.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Oh, of course, yeah. And you know, there's better players than Phil that haven't made it. But you know, if he'd had like Chris Gunter's mentality, he would have been a professional footballer because he had the ability.
So how did you end up at Taffs then?
Because we were going to Ely Rangers because at the end Marlborough, and we were playing Whitchurch in the under-16s over at Caidelin, and somebody from Taffswell was there because they had 2 reasons. They were looking for their next youth team, and then they were looking for, but also they had what was his name? Richard Crawley was the youth team manager. Richard Crawley?
Don't know.
I think that was his name. He'd done really well in junior football a couple of years above me, but they were having some trouble with him, and there were rumours that he was going to resign. So they said, "We'd like you to come next year, but we might be looking for a manager now as well for the current team." So 2 days later, I'm manager of Taffswell under-19s. In the Magwerta Youth League, yeah. And then obviously I was still doing Marlborough, so I was running the 2 teams. And then the following year, Marlborough came up and we played under-17s for a year while the 19s were still. So I was running both teams for a year and a half. A year and a half, yeah.
Magwerta was on a Sunday then, and they were on...
No, there was lots of Monday games, Sundays, Mondays, Tuesdays in Magwerta. And then the 17s would always be Monday. And then the Magwerta was all over the place.
Who's first team gaffer then at Taffs?
When I went in, Nicky Tucker.
So that was your first...
Yeah, and Paul Stevens was his number 2. And Rob Ellis was reserve team manager as well. I loved Rob Ellis, honestly. He was a brilliant guy to work with. Just real solid bloke, do you know what I mean? Just a very honest, very good guy. And by the way, I absolutely loved working with Tux. Obviously, I worked with him again later on, but I would say during Nicky Tucker's time, when it was him, Rob Ellis, me, Paul Stevens, we were a very close-knit management team. And I used to put a lot of players through into the first. So Tux was always brave enough to play them. Always was. I loved the Martin Rose story. So Martin Rose was coming to Taffswell because he was going to play for the youth team because he was very good mates with my captain, Ben Diamond. And we got Martin Rose along, and anyway, he's turned up to a pre-season friendly. And I've also sent David Ormsby, who was probably my best player in the under-17s. He was honestly absolutely brilliant when he was a youth player. And they've played Martin Rose, and he's been unbelievable. And they're like, and Tux is on the phone to me that night going like, your boy Ormsby, he's this and he's that. And I'm thinking, I don't sound like Dave. Dave's a winger, like. He's on about him holding it up and flicking it on and all that. And I'm thinking, Dave runs with the ball. I don't know, this ain't the guy. Like, so anyway, I speak to Ben Diamond. It was Martin Rose. So that's how Martin Rose ended up playing for Taffswell. Was because me and Ben Diamond had brought him in from playing for Penturk Rugby, I think, to play football.
Was Jason Welsh there when you were there?
He's coming towards the end of his time when I was there. He was there, but only for like the rest of that season, and then he was gone. Gareth Williams and his brother Craig was there. Craig. They obviously went on to play Welsh Premier League as well, didn't they?
Cracking players.
My first proper dealings with Leon Jan, when I was, because Tuck signed him for a little while when he was there. Peter Cheeseman was up front. Saw him the other week at a golf day.
They all played Witcher, sorry.
Yeah. It was a really good side that Nicky Tucker built there, and it was backed up by a very strong competitive reserve team that used to play in the Premier of the Amateur League.
Amateur League, then, wasn't it?
Yeah, and the youth team, we were always in the top 3 or 4 of the McGuirton. We were in the top 2 or 3 in the under 17s, and it was a system that was just really working well. But
I know.
we just couldn't keep up with Nicky Tucker's ambition, unfortunately.
I was going to say then, Llanelli came
yeah.
on it. That's
yeah.
when Llanelli happened.
Yeah, and that was a. Do you know what? There's probably 2 big disappointments in my time in football, and what Tuck's leaving the club led to was probably the first of them. Because I loved it there, I absolutely loved it, and I thought we had, Rob Ellis was the reserve team manager, and he had no aspiration to be the first team manager while Nicky was there. So he was never going to cause any problems. I had massive respect for Rob Ellis. No one was ever going to be backstabbing each other or whatever. It was a very tight-knit unit. And when Tux went to Llanelli, and he took 8 or 9 players.
He basically wiped them out, didn't he?
Pretty much, and they were top of the first division of the Welsh League at the time. Yeah. And then, always remember that when he went, they offered it to Peter Cheeseman. And Peter Cheeseman, the night it all happened, had spoken to Norma, now God rest her soul, and Peter Cheeseman had said, I'll think about it, but I'd like me to be his number 2. So we had that conversation, but by the time I got to speak to Cheesy, I think Tux had come in with even more wonder and he was off.
So, because this, obviously my links with Tafswell, your links with Tafswell, I look at that and I think, Llanelli, lovely setup, Stebenheath and all that. I used to love going. I used to love playing there. But then, like you said, that Tafswell side probably would have gone on to win the league.
Yeah, but you're thinking about Tafswell as it is now, ground-wise.
So ground criteria was way off. That's why I was going to say, was it way off?
Way off. So there's seated stands on both sides now, and there was just a shelter on the far side from the dugouts. There was no seats.
So it was a nigh on impossibility.
And even though Tux is one of those rare people that just sees what was a very bog standard, bang average Welsh League Division 2 ground and says we can go to the Welsh Prem, he does believe it. But what people like Nicky Tucker need is people that will go with him. And I think Tafswell had reached their limit of how far they were willing to go with him, because they'd supported him in starting to pay players, whereas they never really wanted to do that. Their nickname when I joined them was the Amateurs. Do you know what I mean? So there were big people against that. But it was a shame it happened, but I never thought less of Tux for doing it, because I knew how hungry he was for it. I knew how much he wanted to get on. And Tafs had stopped coming with him. So I was gutted, but
I know how, obviously, through building my relationship with Norm, and I know how much that affected her. Yeah. And in a way, I used to have some amazing chats with Norma. And I remember...
So did I at one point, believe it or not.
I remember with Tux, when I first got into management, Tux always said to me, I remember we went up to watch Bridgeman when they were playing at USW. And I just got a my staying job after Llanrumney. Yeah. And he said to me, he said, one tip I'm going to give you, never not trust players, but never think that player will always be loyal to you.
Yeah. What did Jock Stein say to Alex Ferguson? He's never fall in love with football, as Alex, they'll break your heart. And that's so true.
And I think that's what happened with Norma.
Yeah.
Because like even while I was there, and you know the tops, the Joey Evans of this world, and you know what it's like, guy. You've had it as a manager, and she always used to think like it was the club. The draw was the club, and I always used to say, no, it's not. Like for some of them it might be, but it's not a lot. Don't underestimate the influence the manager got and things like
Especially if the manager's brought you in.
Yeah.
Taftswell for a long time, obviously in the McWhirter League days.
Would have brought a lot of them in, wouldn't he?
Yeah, but the thing is, Nicky was the guy that gave them the chance, like you gave young kids the chance to come in. So they still get connected to a manager, don't they? So I never blamed him for going, and then it was probably 6, 7, 8 weeks of absolute mess then when he'd gone. In came Mark Evans and Adam Moore, and I went from loving that club to hating everything it stood for within 8 weeks. Yeah, just hated it. And it all came to a head. It was a totally set up meeting where basically in the past there'd been players playing in the youth team that played for other clubs. It was never a problem, but now they were going to make it a problem, and they'd stopped picking Danny Hooper for the first team. So Dan Hooper went and signed for Bridgeman, and they said, oh well, he can't play for the youth anymore. There's about 2.5 months of the season left. So the youth team, by the way, have kept them.
Evo's
We'll come to him now. So
love it. Spill the beans,
see, there were, maybe it's because of my background, right, of management and leadership and stuff like that in my job. But to me, the sensible thing to have done would have been, right, look, these young players that you're now shitting on kept this club going for the 3-4 weeks it took to get new management team and players in, right? So let them finish out the season. I think we were 2nd or 3rd in the McWhirter League. We probably could have won it, right? And they just pulled the plug on it. They stopped Dan Hooper playing. They stopped Mike Hill playing because he'd gone up to Pontefract because he wasn't getting selected anymore. And it was very much just let's see what he does with. Norma knew me very well. Yeah. She knew. You do that, I'm off. And that's exactly what they did that night. They did that, and it took me from thinking that'd be a club that I'd be at for 10, 15 years because I just loved it there, and I didn't care what team I was managing. I just loved it, and I went to absolutely hating the place within 8 weeks, and the way it was all done at the end as well. I just thought, it's not. It's
like even that happening to you. Like when we used to have our chats and our calls, I could always sense that you had that little glint. For Taftswell, even though. Yeah, no,
I always did, and then, but do you know? I think the reason it pissed me off so much, and there's lots of mirrors to what happened to Croesyceiliog at the end as well for me, which is it wasn't just Tux and Rob and people like that. I reckon I used to speak to Norma for 3 hours a week on the phone, and then all of a sudden, that person that you've spoken to for 3 hours a week just turns on you like that. That's quite hard to process. You're losing your football team as well, and it was just horrendous, and it got really messy, and there's stuff they did that they should never have done, but there was stuff I did in response to it, which looking back, I just wish I'd let it go, but I couldn't let him have the last word. I couldn't let him take the narrative. I thought, no, we haven't done that, that's not true. So I'd always be correcting the record, but every time you correct it, they correct you, and it just goes on and on and on.
So you look at this, correct me if I'm wrong, if a different manager had come in after Tux with a different way of thinking or doing things.
The engaging with the youth and all that.
Yeah. Probably you would have gone on to manage Taftswell first team at some point.
I don't know if that would have happened because different things happen in life, don't they? So I might have ended up one of these youth team at me running the reserves there because they were in a amateur league team at the time. I don't know what would have happened with that, but what I would say about it was the other thing about that meeting, which is the other bit that just made me think, fuck this. I stood there and watched on a flip chart as it was drawn in front of me. Betis won the league with this budget. That's our budget. So moving forward, basically saying we're going to sign big, hard, aggressive men and kick the shit out of people. So the other thing I was thinking then about that, I was thinking, well, hold on, I'm bringing through football this year. As much as people call me Dr. Hoofball, I was actually bringing through football playing players here. And so I was actually thinking, what's the point of me doing that if you're never going to pick a youngster because you want a big bruiser on the wing, you know? So there was loads of stuff going on with it. But yeah, if someone else had come in that was, I mean, for example, if Mark Sampson had followed Nicky Tucker, I'd have carried on with the youth and there'd have been no problem. But I didn't like the philosophy, which, by the way, doesn't make me right, because the first team manager he's got, as far as I'm concerned. But I couldn't get on with the man. I couldn't get on with how he was. I just couldn't do it.
But you know, so he was wrong then at the time, because I played...
No, I'm not saying he is wrong.
Like what he's saying about Betters, but because Betters tipped my Cardiff Met side for the league. We went down to the final game of the season, and they had some fucking players in that better side.
To
play for Barry Town in the Welsh Premier League.
Well, that's what happens. When you look at like Croesyceiliog's championship winning team, look at some of the players and what they went on to do. They just happened to be at that club at that time. But that was their philosophy. And look, when you're the manager, your philosophy is your philosophy. But it was just nothing about those two that I could get on with.
You fell out with it?
At all. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Go on, elaborate.
Right, I won't.
You know, like
I never want to rip because I can't. I'm not comparing myself.
I can't imagine you, Mark, sat in a room with a flip chart, someone with a flip chart, and you just sitting there going, "Yeah, okay, well, fair enough." I just can't imagine him.
I won't go into too much detail.
You've just got to give me a little bit of detail.
So you know what? Roy Keane will never repeat exactly what he said to Mick McCarthy. But one thing I will say, right, is Adam Moore was sat to my right, and he had, how do you describe it? He had quite a smarmy smile. Do you know what I mean? And of course, that ain't what you need to see when you're in this moment where you're bubbling, is it? And he's looked at me and he's made some comment about me being involved in Dan Hooper going to Bryn Tyrion and all this. And I looked at him, I went, listen, you. I said, you've been touting yourself on every club in fucking South Wales this week. I'd keep it fucking shut. Because, of course, everyone knows each other in football, don't they? And he'd been in Tathwell 2 months and he was touting himself everywhere, including Llanelli with Nicky Tucker. So it was one of them. It was like, you shut up, you. You've been in the room 5 minutes.
Because how did they do? They didn't do...
So, look, the job they did from where it was, they put a consistent team on the pitch, they were competitive, they didn't get smashed, they did the job that season. I'm not criticising them for that, but the record shows that every season thereafter it went down and down and down.
Started being more of a third, fourth and bottom.
Yeah, and then obviously they made the change. Mark Sampson came in and that was the start of it going in the other direction, wasn't it?
And they changed, and then they changed again. They
there was an upward, an upward trajectory, wasn't there? There was an upward trajectory.
Go on, man. Go on,
But there was an upward trajectory from there, I would say. So, yeah, it was. I haven't thought about that stuff for a long time, but yeah, it's quite painful for a long time now.
When we used to talk about it, I used to get that.
When you think about the timelines, right? So Nicky Tucker's gone off to Llanelli.
Yeah.
He's done Llanelli for a year, and then he's done Bridgeman Town, right? And then he went to Danish Powys when they were struggling at the bottom of the first division of the Welsh League, and that was the time I came back. So I must have been out for 18 months, no involvement, not playing, not coaching, nothing.
What did it you for 6 like?
It floored me, and I just thought. I think the problem was I just thought, where am I gonna find that again? Do you know what I mean? Because I'd loved it for 3 years. I'd loved it, absolutely loved it.
That was my philosophy as a manager. You know, like Llanrumney. I would have liked the stage here if progression and
if it had been possible, and if we had this, it would have been amazing.
But then, because I like to think, like as a player, I wasn't loyal, but as a manager, I was pretty loyal. But then, like you look at it, and I'm just like I always had my eye on Taffs. Because you looked at that setup, you knew they had a little budget.
It wasn't Taffs for me, we'll probably get to where it was for me.
They had a little budget, it was local gaffer.
Yeah.
I was like...
We went to I still remember where I was when
Where did you go after
Tuck contacted me. So I was out for about 18 months.
Yeah, 18 months.
And I was at the local pub with my mate Lawrence Porch, and we were having a few pints before we went to watch Tom Jones. Right? And we were watching the football, and Tuck's texted me, and he's like, "Oh, what are you doing?" I said, "Fuck all, mate." Said, "No, just nothing's interested me." And he's gone, "Well, I'm going to Dennis Powers." I'm still pretty sure to this day he was asking me to run his youth team. And I replied and I said, "I'm only interested in senior football now, if I'm honest, mate." Because obviously all the lads that I would have coached were now 20, 21 as well.
Being out of the game.
Yeah, so I was just like, so fair play. He brought me in. And again, loved it. Really enjoyed it. We kept him up that season, I had to keep him sane sometimes where he was just like, "Oh my God," because he thought we were going down at one point, and I think we managed to stay up with a game or two to spare. And then we started signing people, and all of a sudden Craig Lima's in the club, Gazer's in the club, who else do we have bring in? Drew Fahir was coming into the club, Nana Bar had joined us, and Nana wasn't even in the side, Knocker was up front, Dwayne Strong. Like all of a sudden you're looking around and you're thinking we're gonna do all right here. And then history repeated itself. We were second in the league, first division of the Welsh League. Us and Goitra United at the top. Richie Ryan's team, Buster, all those boys. We're dead level at the top.
Always play with Buster.
And all of a sudden Nicky took us off to Port Talbot, and it was like, wow. He's done it again.
It's a plug here, isn't it?
History's repeating.
He's done it again. So he went. I was absolutely gutted when he went to Port Talbot, because I know again his ambition was higher than the club, but I swear to God.
When he went there.
Huh?
They were in a right mess, weren't they, when he went there? Were they in a right
No,
mess?
they were mid-table.
Were they? I thought they
Weren't in trouble or nothing. But again, we weren't going to be able to go up. He had all these things, we'll play at Grange, at Leckwith Stadium and all of that, but it was all pipe dreams because the club had nothing. And I think he knew, like we spoke about in Dog's episode.
They had those fucking dugouts like tents.
No, proper dugouts back then. Yeah.
Not the tents after.
The tents came
Yeah, the tents are there now. The tents are there now, yeah.
2 people sitting on them.
Yeah.
Sit is a loose term.
Yeah. But
on the merch.
But again, I loved everything about it. There was some brilliant people on the committee there, and there was a proper supporters club, and they genuinely were home and away, and they were brilliant guys. And again, I thought, I found somewhere I really enjoyed.
Port Talbot then?
Yes. Where did he? He didn't ask me to go to Llanelli. He did ask me to go to Port Talbot, but to be fair to him, not till the summer. He didn't try and take me with him at the time. Yeah. And he tried to take me to Clevedon when he was Clevedon town manager, but I just couldn't be asked with all that travelling. Yeah. But when he went to Port Talbot, I thought he's done it. I found somewhere. It's brilliant. I love it. He's great fun. So, and then in came Jonah. So I got to work with Jonah for a while, and I was obviously my history up to now is not loving people that replace Nicky Tucker because he's quite unique. But in came Jonah, and I got to work with him for 6 months, and I learned more off Jonah probably than anything else.
I'm going to ask what everyone's probably thinking when they watch this. Who was the best out of those two?
What, best manager?
Yeah.
It depends what you're looking for. If you give Nicky Tucker a shitty Parks pitch with a barrier around it and 2 tents for dugouts, right? He will look at that. He's one of these unique people. He's like Di Morgan, who managed Aberham, and we'll come to in a minute. And he'll look at that ground and he'll go, we can win the Welsh League. So in terms of building a club that's nothing up to something that is just punching way above their weight, Nicky Tucker would be better. Yeah. He will get players that are far too good for that level of football to sign for half the money they could get at another club that might. He's just
good salesman.
Like Danny Street tells stories about Tuck's turning up at his house and sitting there with Streety and his wife, and like all of these stories.
It's like the old
So
Brian Clough thing,
Tux would be better at that. But if you give the two men a football team and say, improve this team and manage it over a 2-year spell, I mean, Jonah wins hands down.
I played for them both. Like, admittedly, only the 3 games for Taffs. That was the Goitra we talked about.
Yeah.
But then Jonah, fuck me, like, I used to walk out the changing room thinking I was fucking Diego Maradona, and I would run. Like,
do you know how far superior Jonah was
tactically? Through a brick wall. Like,
tactically to Tux. And there's nothing wrong with this because I think people like Kevin Keegan were like it in a pro game, right? But this is how far superior tactically Jonah was to Tux. When Tux was manager, I used to set us up tactically. When Jonah came in, I didn't dare. Do you know what I mean? I learned so much about certain things that I still do today. Silly things like, I remember I was caretaker manager for a couple of games, and we won at Caerleon, who were a good side. First game I was in charge, but with about 10 minutes to go, Caerleon were a big physical side, and 10 minutes to go, I took off a striker and put on an extra centre half to try and shore it up. And he was there watching, and he saw me do it, and he went, and then after that, next game, Ely Rangers in the Cup, we went down to 10 men in the first half, 10 minutes to half time, and I put him 4-4-1. And he was only meant to be watching, and he stepped in, and he went 4-3-2. And we won the game, to be fair.
That's where I must have got it from then.
I passed it on to you. And Guy Morgan.
I remember you telling me.
And Guy Morgan the same. Because when I came and worked with you for a little while then, that's what I said to you. And to this day, we do it.
We've always done it,
That's where I missed.
Yeah.
When Butler was having meltdown, what the fuck you doing? Fuck it.
But the thing is, with Jonah though, is that in the pub after, he would stand and explain to me why it's the thing to do. And it wouldn't just be, all right, this has always worked for me. It would be, and the way he explained it, I thought, that's so fucking obvious. Why have I never...
I'm probably being a little bit unfair to Tucker because, like I said, I only had played under him, and I've known him for years, like, but I only played 3 or 4 games with him. Whereas with Jonah, like, in fairness to Jonah, I knew Jonah as a kid when I played baseball for Llanrumney as a 15, 16-year-old against Grange Albion. And he, in fairness, like, you ask, he always had time for you, and he'd always, like, if you took a catch, he'd be coming up to you going, oh, that's a great catch, and that. So I probably, like, and I did play a lot more games under Jonah. So for me to compare them is probably a shit comparison.
When you think how long I was actually a number 2, I was incredibly lucky of the people I got to work with. Do you know what I mean? Because Nicky Tucker was one extreme, and then obviously Jonah I learned so much from, and I was still ringing Jonah for advice years later on certain things.
You won things. Did Tux ever win anything?
No, Tux won nothing, mate. No.
Sorry, Nick.
No.
I shouldn't do that. He's a fellow Liverpool supporter. Sorry, mate. I'm only joking.
Brilliant.
He told me to wind you up.
But so that's where Jonah, obviously, and then in the summer of that year, in comes the phone call from Guy Morgan at Aberdeen, and again, 3 totally different managers, right?
Because how did that? Like, did you know Guy? Because like when that happened, when I seen that happen, there was like, I was like just out of the blue, like, because I knew Guy, I played.
So I knew Guy, I knew him. I knew him from a short spell playing at Taftswell, and obviously coaching then at Dinas Powys for 2 seasons. He was Aberdeen manager, so we were coming up against him, and because him and Tux were quite good mates. When we're after games, you know, Guy would be there for 2 hours after the game with us rather than half hour.
He liked the social side, Guy, back in the day, didn't he?
Oh yeah, he was the king of Park Plaza, Guy Morgan. Yeah, he owns a pub now, mind. Up in Raglan.
I watched it.
Yeah, I got to pop in at some point. But he's offered us free meal and drink, mind, when we've won it.
Oh, I'll have to come up with you.
There, yeah, absolutely. we'll all turn up on a bus. Like Di, you say it's free. But again, Di was, I mean, Christ, you couldn't be more different.
I was going to say, like, because I never, like, I played with Di at Britain Ferry.
Yeah.
And but then I never got managed by Di, because I remember I played for one of my Taftswell games was against Aberdeen, and Di was manager.
Yeah, people probably got the wrong impression about Guy Morgan, right? And I encourage anyone that hasn't listened to it to...
Proper football, man. I found he loved it. He was like, you know, like you see these football, you could tell, like, when playing, like, when I played for Abraham, when he used to come and watch games. Yeah. Because that was his, like, when I watched the podcast, it was his club. That was his club.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, like, he was like a football encyclopedia. You could tell he was football.
He was mad for it. And that's why I just, anyone who hasn't listened to Di Morgan's episode, like, even if you don't know who he is, it's a fascinating listen. Like, it was a hell of a conversation when we were just all the...
It's a cracking keeper and all.
Yeah, he was, yeah. But but in terms of working with him, people probably don't give him enough credit for... He's probably the first person I encountered in football where I sort of understood the difference between a manager and a leader. Because Di Morgan would... His personality and his reputation suggests, you're just going there to take the warm-ups, guy. He won't be listening to you, but nothing could be further from the truth.
See, I felt that was probably my reputation as a manager.
Yeah.
Like, so I was a bit like, because I know, like, people I spoke to down the line were like, fuck me, I never ever thought you would be a football manager. Yeah. So I was probably the same as Di.
But you know Di's reputation, and this is total coincidence, but I was
quite mad and all, like.
Yeah, so I was up in Mountain Ash Golf Club on Friday, and I was talking to Guy who was an usher when I got married, and the manager of the club, because obviously that's what I do in my day job, is working with club managers, and we got to talking about Di because they obviously know him from the area, and my mate was telling me that Di Morgan was the kind of guy when he was younger that would turn up for like a midweek league cricket match up in the Cwmbran Valley in like all whites, where everyone else is in like fucking shorts and whatever else, right? And he said he'd be running in bowling, right? And he'd think he's got someone out LBW, and there's like some 16-year-old kid umpiring, and he's like, in their face and all that. The people that know Di Morgan like that, the intense competitor, that's over the top, loud, brash and all that, people don't realise because he's been very successful in business in his life, right? Yeah. And he got screwed over it with contracts and stuff with his one company, but he's done very well in training, education, all sorts. And they don't give him credit for what a leader he was. You know, we talked to him a lot when we met him, didn't we, about the sports psychologist there. But there was Pip Edwards, who's now obviously heavily involved with Cwmbran for years, and there was me, and he would ask for opinions and genuinely listen to everyone. And he'd make his own decision in the end, but everyone respected the fact that he listened. And sometimes he could be a little bit stubborn with something, but you knew if you chipped away at him for 2-3 weeks, and what he was doing wasn't working, he would listen. Training, he didn't want any involvement, he just left it to the people that were running training, and it was, people don't give him credit for being like that.
But you know what, it's like, again, that you saying that, I find that quite, like, fascinating, because, like, that happened to me when I was asked to go assistant manager at a certain place.
Yeah.
Whatever, my opinion just wasn't.
Yeah.
And in the end, I just be like, I thought, what's the fucking point? Like, I might be fucking about in the dugout and laughing and joking. Like, because I thought, well, whatever I say or whatever.
There's a difference though between.
Do you know what I mean?
So imagine
it's nice to feel.
Imagine you're my number two.
Yeah.
I don't have to do what you suggest.
No, but it's.
But there's a when you're dealing with a proper leader.
Yeah.
They might not go with what you say 4 times out of every 5.
Yeah.
But you don't feel like you haven't been listened to, and I would give Di Morgan that credit. He was probably the first person I really sort of recognised as, like, you know, what you're like in football, you could transfer that into business, rugby, cricket, anything you wanted to.
So you won the Welsh League there, didn't you? That was a Welsh League title.
Yeah, it's the photo's still on the wall, isn't it?
And then Floodlight Gate.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't go into that story. Yeah. I think the best thing people could do to hear the truth about that is listen to Di Morgan's episode, because what happened there is tragic, and I think what that was a classic, I think, of a club, bit like Taftswell with Nicky Tucker, a club had gone with him, with all the talk of Welsh Prem and all of this, half thinking we'll never do it, and half thinking, well, we'll win the Welsh League. That's what we want to do. And then when they got there, I think when the floodlights weren't up in time, I think it gave them an out.
Like you said,
I don't think some of them ever really wanted to go
like
up.
you said, it is. I've watched it because obviously playing with Di, and it is worth a watch. But it is like I know how much that club fucking meant to him. Because like 100%. I said, when he was off playing in the Welsh Premier League, if he didn't have a game on a Saturday, first place he'd be cheering us lot on at Aberdeen, when John Erman was manager.
Again, you know, when you think as well, it just shows there's no loyalty in football at all. And look, Guy would tell you, it was absolutely not a one-man band that did all of that on or off the pitch. There were lots of people that contributed to the stuff off the pitch. But to have a committee meeting where they decide that they're not going to appeal the decision that you can't go up in a meeting that Di Morgan can't attend, that's pretty shit.
Yeah.
That's pretty shit.
Shows where they're at.
Yeah.
Or where
But, you know, you said about Tass, well, for a good long time, Aberdeen Town was the place I wanted to end up managing.
Was it?
That was the place for me, yeah. For a long time. Yeah. But then, obviously, I had our time with you, and then you went, so that was a season, and then you've gone on to My Steg Park.
And then you've gone Nicky Tucker, Jonah, Di, him.
He saw the fucking... he saw the potential,
and then fucking down here.
and he saw the potential in me. He saw the fucking potential.
Sorry, I had to get that in.
I'm a multiple Welsh League...
I was going to say, he won more trophies than Tucker.
Sorry, Nick.
Yeah, so... But that was by then.
But that season was a travesty, because you knew... Because we spoke about that when I was at my episode, but like, me and you were talking, you knew I was... Remember the one game? You knew I was going up for an interview, didn't you?
Yeah. No, it wasn't an interview.
It was an interview, well, wherever
So we were playing, right? I can't even remember where it was, right? It was up in the arse end of nowhere, right? It was miles away, this thing, right? It must have been the highest point anywhere in the Rhondda Valley we're playing this night. And it's a midweeker. And we get there and he ain't there, right? And I've just put my boots on quiet, and I sat next to Chrissy Davis. We've gone out, we've won the game, right? We've come in. And they're like, Bridgie or whatever. I think they said you're working or something like that.
It was him and Jamie and all that, wasn't it? Like,
between you, did it?
No, I was playing.
Yeah,
So
but you would have had some say and all, would you? Like?
But anyway, I take my boots off after the game, and Chrissy's like, "Where do you reckon he is then?" I've gone, my stag, I've got a game tonight. Yeah. But you know, the mad thing, it's mad things, you know, when you say, like, if I'd stayed at Taffs and it had been a different manager other than Evo and Maura would come in, I would have managed Taffs. I don't know if that ever would have happened, right? Because do you know the thing that put a fire in me to go and be a first team manager rather than coaching or staying playing? Now my ankles were a bit better. Was that summer. So obviously you went off to My Steg Park, and I was gutted, but I wanted the Llanrumney job.
How you didn't get that job it's still a modern day fucking mystery.
So I hung on for a long time.
A modern day fucker.
It was a it
was mad, wasn't it?
And I'd even started recruiting for it.
Well, I had said, I thought, because I thought
it felt like it was going to be a natural
done deal. Done deal. All the players respected you.
Yeah, so you were obviously going to take some, but some that were going to be remaining would have been good. And obviously back then, I knew a lot of players that were young adults by then. And I had a list, and also I'd started contacting them. Anyway,
I spoke to you.
Weeks and weeks. I actually had an approach at that point. I mean, it was a very different club to what it is now. I actually had a phone call from Bridgeman Street. It was when they were still playing on Splot Park. They didn't have a ground. They'd nearly gone down that year, I think.
You played them, didn't we? On Spot Park. You played them,
yeah.
You scored in that game.
Scored, yeah.
I was going to say. That's why you fucking brought me up. I thought he said I remember the goal.
Fishy played.
I remember the goal. It was a fucking 2-yard tackle.
No. No, since you brought it up,
Off his shin.
since you brought it up, no, it's coming to the box.
No, I'm sure it was a tap.
It wasn't. It's coming to the box,
It is the shin
and it's off a corner, and they've edited it clear, and it's come out to the penalty spot, and I think Carmo's like squared it to me from the penalty spot, so I'm probably like 12, 13 yards out, and I've just blasted it, and it's
I remember he scored.
And anyway, behind the goal is a scrambler bike, 2 guys, and one of these like killing machines on a lead, right? And I've just looked at him and gone like that. Right? Carmo's grabbed my arms like, oh God, don't be so stupid. And then second half, we've Dale Gardner scored. I got the assist in the second half. We beat him 2-1.
We beat him, didn't we?
Big crowd.
Yeah,
big crowd.
Did we play? We played that on Spot
Park.
Park, where Spot Albion.
Yeah, that's
didn't
right.
we?
Yeah. Do you want to get the last piece of information in about this game?
Go on.
You got sent off from midfield.
I was fucking moving.
Because we had a semi-final 2 days later. So you left Joey Evans out, Leon Jan, all these people.
Yeah, I played, didn't I?
And you played and got sent off. Yeah. Left me running round up front on my own because of you. Chrissy Davis in
Did you tell me it was for the tackle? Or did I call the referee something I shouldn't have?
It was something. Yeah, I don't think it was something stupid. I think it was a tackle. Yeah.
It was loads watching, wasn't it?
Yeah,
It was
it
a big crowd.
But anyway, obviously we won the cup.
Yeah.
So I always try and get that in because, you know.
It's another cup we won.
I know. I took. Well, you still putting that down as a cup you won, are you?
Were you banned, were you?
I was on my stag do.
That's right.
You were on there, was it?
He was in fucking Brighton.
Yeah, but again, this was Llanrumney.
Were you dining in? So were you following me?
I was probably resting in some Wetherspoon somewhere.
In Brighton.
It was Liverpool.
All right, Liverpool, wherever it was, right? But Llanrumney in a cup final. This is his last game as manager, and he's in Brighton. And do you know what's even worse? Leon Jan's here with him. Cup final, by the way.
Well, Johnny Carver, do you know? I'm sure Carver was there.
No, Carmel played.
Did he play?
Yeah, he's in the pictures.
And his brother was there.
Yeah.
But again, this was Llanrumney, right? So we're going to go on to where they fucked you over with the manager's job. So they fucked me over all season. Like I said in our series, I had to ask either of you, Llanrumney baseball, to pay for my seat licence. Yeah. They promised me this, promised me they'd apply for Welsh League status, even though we knew we wouldn't get it, just so they could give us a
Get the report.
Get the report. Didn't do it. Didn't pay my fucking fine when I was banned for fucking 8 games. And then when the fucking league come, my stag do, and I'm like, the fucking change, the fucking, tell them all the fucking teams. Tell them all the fucking team can't play. Done it. What did he do? Fuck all.
He did.
Fuck all. So I missed the final.
You've got to do something there in your eye, yeah. The whole team's on the stag
I
do.
didn't even try. No. Well, I'll try, I'll speak to the league. Just tell the league, we can't fulfill the fixture because the whole team's coming on my stag do.
Yeah. So we looked after.
So anyway, we won the cup.
Yeah.
Wait, another cup.
So only 2 ever Llanrumney trophy winning managers here. Just saying.
So the tuck up. Let's go back to the tuck. Sorry, we regressed then.
What it was though, the short version
was a tuck up.
But the short version of it was he wanted Di Blackwell, didn't he?
Did he?
Yeah. So he was trying to persuade Di. Di hadn't been trying to get it. No, Di wasn't trying to get it. He was trying to persuade Dave Blackwell because he was big mates with his son, wasn't he? He was trying to persuade him, and I think it took weeks and weeks. And do you know the mad thing? After about a month, Croesyceiliog come up. And
how did that come?
And well, he lit a fire under me. He lit a fire under me by doing that.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'll fucking show you. And that's, do you know what? That's as childish as it is. That's all I was applying to Croesyceiliog at the time. And so I went, had the interview. Following day, I still remember now, walking through Tesco Extra, and the phone rings, and it's Chris Evans, the chairman down at Croesyceiliog, want to offer me the job. And even then, right, and I'm a bit ashamed of this now because of obviously how well they treated me for a long time. I went, okay, right, I'm just going to speak to my missus about it, and I'll come back to you in the morning. In truth,
you'll wait for that.
I was going to say to Gary Kelleher, look, last chance. And then I went home and I thought, no, do you know what? Fucking, I'm not doing this. So I accepted the Croesyceiliog job. About 2 days later, Gary Kelleher texted me and said, do you want to meet up and have a chat about the Llanrumney job? And I said, I've already gone to Croesy, I'm sorry.
Their loss.
But what I did do, I gave Di Blackwell my hit list of players for that level of football, and he actually did a good job of going and speaking to them. They obviously liked him, he recruited them, and they went on to do really well. I think they finished third in the league, which when you think how many players left to go to you, go with me, go else, Joey Evans went to Clevedon, so did really well to finish third with almost a whole new side. So to be fair to him, Di did do a good job, but when Di finished, the club went through a real barren spell after that, which is sad. But yeah, we were then in Croesy.
So Croesy.
Yeah. Fucking hell.
7 players. How many players do you have? Mass exodus.
Well, no, it wasn't like we didn't have. It wasn't like when we went to Llanwern and we didn't have many players, but lots of the first team that had got them through all the leagues
Had all gone.
had all the success, were either now gone or thinking of retiring or thinking of going and all that. But yeah, just
So how many years were you there?
roller coaster, 2 and a bit.
So the first year you won the cup, didn't you?
Yeah. Second year we got to cup final and missed out on promotion. Last game of the season.
Talk me through that. I remember the semi-final would be Barry Tom, I'm pretty sure. Didn't
Yeah, down at Taft's.
Taft,
Yeah.
Barry Tom.
Yeah.
What was that like then at Croesy? Like, from when you went in, expectations. What was their expectations?
It was strange.
Like?
I found Croesy. I mean, Rob might think differently about when we went in because we all remember things differently, don't we? But I just remember going in there and it was. If I'd interviewed for that job now, I don't think I would have taken it because I would have looked at it and gone, there's still a lot of ghosts here from the very good team, and that team's gone now, and I don't think they'd actually accepted at that point that team was gone. There was still a lot of pressure to play some of the lads that were past it now, and all of that. You know, I've spoken in previous episodes about my Jamie Jenkins experience, so because it was, you know, and I found that quite difficult. So remember now, I'm 30 years old, dropping a player that's played European football.
Against Deco.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, probably because I'm such a stubborn bastard, I did it. But honestly, that decision, if it had played out differently, if he hadn't played into my hands and not turned up, that could have finished me in my first season.
But you know, like because you brought in a lot of players there, didn't you?
Well, the thing was, when I interviewed with him, I actually said I don't want to bring players in, right? But when you get there and you've then lost that many players. But in terms of people bringing people in, we brought in Rhys Carr because we didn't have a right back. Because we wanted the captain to play more centrally. We brought in Anthony Southard from Cairo, but that was after the season started because we played against him. Hugh, because we didn't have a single centre back because Brownie was injured.
Dom.
Yeah, but Dom Broad was later.
Yeah, later on. Not really. It was a lot of local players. What you're saying there with the whole perception of it is, it's almost like, you know, Gareth talked about before, when you go in you want to be able to put your own stamp on it and everything else, and it was still that little chip now and again of so-and-so did, so-and-so did,
it was hard work
did, so-and-so
it was hard work. You'd like
what little subtle digs?
Abuse shouted from the stand, and of course because you know everyone, you know who's shouting there.
Committee.
Yeah. They could be the worst.
At least at the Collies, it was whispers in people's ears.
Yeah, they could be the worst. The blue coats.
It'd be one of those, but you win a game, it'd be like you tap on the back, I'll buy you a beer, do you want beer, and everything else. You'd be like, oh yeah, fine. But you just knew, it's like they'd ride on the coattails of the success. But if you drew a game, or if you lost 2 on a bounce...
Denny had that, a trio win, didn't he? Where was Denny before he went?
Thomas.
To Thomas. I remember like seeing people absolutely hammer him, and then obviously Denny turned it around, didn't he? And they went well, but that must be hard.
The thing I struggled with at that age, right?
Because that must be hard. Like if you're having people abuse you.
It was hard. It was hard because I really liked the players. They were a real good bunch to be around, good fun to be around, and I found it hard because there was no sense of like perspective. You know, you've done amazing all these years, but you know all these heroes that you're now fuming that I'm bombing out or falling out with or whatever. Can I just remind you they relegated you last year?
Yeah.
And they relegated you because they've lost that hunger to play. Some of these people have played a lot of games in Europe for Cwmbran Town, Barry Town, right? No one's ever questioned how good they were at football, but time waits for no one, and time catches up with everybody, and they didn't. So when you lose or when you force out a Jamie Jenkins or a Walker who went up to Goitre, who was a brilliant player in his time, and you're replacing them with decent Welsh League lads, but not European football lads, there was almost no recognition of that. So where did we finish? In the first season, I think we finished 6th in the league.
I was going to say, you've done well.
Which is 6th in League One and beat Division 1 champions in the cup final.
And a Division 2 side winning the Welsh. I remember watching.
And obviously you were there, and like I always remember Stephen Connerty.
And it wasn't.
Oh no, we smashed them.
It could have been more, couldn't it?
Yeah.
Not like our game when we played Cam, and Cam absolutely fucking bad.
Yeah. Everything went right for us on the night, and I think they were already on the 24-hour bender they had booked in.
If I remember right, I think Richie Ryan probably had one chance or one.
Stuck it away.
He scored. He scored.
Yeah. Well, that's Richie, prolific.
But you nullified them, didn't you?
Yeah, definitely. But again, I think that's just a classic for anyone that's ever up against a much better team in football. We didn't sit back. We were fucking aggressive. We were in a shape, but we were aggressive and we were all over them. Because they'd won the league in the last minute 6 days earlier, I don't think the hunger was there.
But then saying that, even Barry Town in the semi-final was similar.
That was a harder game. We
did a job on them.
Yeah, I still thought you deserved. I watched that game and I still thought you deserved.
I was always wary of Gavin Chesterfield. I was always wary. You never felt with Gavin.
I had a good record.
We've got this. Gavin. But you never felt we got it. If you're 2 up with half hour to go with Gavin, you never. With certain managers, I used to relax a little bit because I'd be thinking
he's not going to change.
If anything changes in this game, it won't be because of anything he does. But Gav was the opposite. You'd be thinking, he's got it in him now to totally change this up and do something totally different. You got to be on your toes with it. So that was probably a harder game.
Did it go to extra time?
No, we won 1-11
in that game and all, wasn't it?
No, Callum Miles scored and Paul Brown.
Brownie scored running off the back of, and this one thing we talk about is doing the analysis of looking at other teams play. Worked out that Dan Clare switches off crosses. So Brownie ran off the back of him and scored.
Dan Clare.
Sorry, Dan.
Dan was very good in the air, right? Yeah. And I think Dan always wanted to be the one who went and won it. And every manager wants one of them, don't they? Yeah. But that night, we'd obviously put Brownie round the far post, and he's marking Brownie. So as soon as we set up, Brownie's going to disappear away from him. And Dan's instinct is always to go and head it because he's the leader in the box, isn't he? And he'd go to head it, but our best header of the ball is running round the back of him. So if we could just get one over him, then we knew Brownie'd be there, which is what happened. Yeah.
So I remember Reece Carr's goal in the final.
Did he and you can join the poll. Did he mean it?
Bridge or what? I think he shanked it.
At the time, I thought it was a bit of a like when you see these clearances that end up being a shot and ends up going in. But I give it to Reece. I thought he meant it.
Yeah. Do you know what I can say? And I've said a few times on it is.
He
tried it a couple of times.
What a fucking game to score a goal like that.
He tried it a couple of times.
I'll never forget that moment.
So I think he'd done it,
by pure chance, I'm up at the top of the stand when it happens, because we're 2-1 up, and there's about 10 minutes left. Cookie's changing formations every 5 minutes. And I had a lot of respect for him as a manager as well.
I was going to say, great bloke.
And a bloke, not only great manager, great bloke. Yeah. And I'm right at the top of the stand in the brewery field, trying to get a look at, he's got 4 up front now and all of that. And this ball just gets played wide. It sort of bounces twice and Reece's head goes up and he strikes it. So when you think how high that ball went to clear the goalkeeper from the halfway line on that massive pitch.
Was it goals for Goitre? Was it Curtis?
Chris Curtis. Yeah. And he's on the edge of his box. And I'm up at ball
David
level.
Seaman moment.
So I'm watching the ball get to him, but I can see before these boys in the dugout that's going over him. So I'm like, so I've come running down the stand. Do you remember Jay Davis?
Yeah.
So Jay Davis was cup tied. He'd signed for us during the season. He was cup tied and he's wearing flip flops. And I've jumped on him because I come down to the bottom of the stand. There's this bedlam in it, right? He's got my studs on. And I've jumped on him and I come down on his foot, cut his foot open.
Blood everywhere.
By the time I got back to the dugout, there's like a 20-man pile up in front of and Reece Carr's at the bottom of it like this. I meant it. Brilliant moment though, brilliant moment. But I think I've mentioned it before, but I always credit Rhodri United with how well they took that. Yeah. They were brilliant. They stayed behind for ages afterwards. You know, at one point, one of the Croesy supporters were like, "We battered them, didn't we?" Like that. And Steve Connaughty was at the bar, and I was like, and I went, "Sorry, mate," and he went, "No, you did. You battered us."
They were all good lads. I was going to,
yeah.
Like you said, Meeks, Buster,
yeah.
Jeremy Chandler might be there then.
But no, fair play to them. They took it really well and went on tour and all that. Loved it. Came back following season. It was the easiest summer I ever had as a manager. We've just won the cup. We've had an amazing time of it. I was driving down to Croesyceiliog twice a week, getting 3-4 signings done at a time like that. It was done. By the time we had like a second week of training, even Jody Jenkins had re-signed. And we went on a great run that season.
Was that when you had the yellow? Remember the yellow car?
Yeah. Yeah.
Hogan yellow.
Yeah.
Fucking Hulk Hogan. Or the Bumblebee, as the boys called it. The Bumblebee.
You love that car.
You all laugh. I swear to God, that car was the fastest thing. I've been in slower aeroplanes in that car.
Honestly, I always say to you, Hogan yellow, but Brownie and the boys nicknamed it the Bumblebee.
Class. So going like with Croesy, because from looking from the like, I know we used to speak in that, but it did seem to end suddenly. Like, was it sudden or did you know?
It was sudden, yeah.
It was.
You know, like it come out of the blue. Because you were doing well, you were still doing well in the league.
Yeah,
that year, wasn't you? Like
the thing is, the following. So we made it to the final of the cup and lost to Newport County.
I came and watched that game and all.
They put out. They were good.
Oh, they had the
they
first
put out
team.
pros and all.
But
they were good, weren't they? Fair play to them, like. And we lost 2-0.
2-0. We didn't get back. It wasn't bad.
No, 2-0. We played okay, but yeah, they were better than us. And then we went down to Newcastle in the last game of the season, needed to win to go up, and we drew. And still remembering how Callum Miles hit a shot from the edge of the box.
Was down there then?
No, he's gone to Abbey, but and Callum Miles hit this shot in like third or fourth minute of stoppage time, and it's hit this defender on the shoulder there. It's not handball. Hit him right on the shoulder blade, and came out. Imagine that now. If it had been 1 inch to the right, it flicks off your shoulder, it's in the net, but promoted. Yeah. I wasn't too despondent with it. I was obviously gutted, but I just thought, do you know what? Like, we're getting better every year. And the following summer was the complete opposite to after we won the cup. I couldn't get people to train in. Even my top players were just, whether they were tired, whether they were just maxed out, I don't know. By the start of the season, most of the players were back, but they haven't done a pre-season. And we started quite poorly in the league, but then we picked up a few results. And I think we were 4 points off second in the league after 6 league games.
We had a couple of injuries coming back as well.
Fucking couple. But then we hit holidays and injuries all at once. Yeah. And we had this week. We had Haverfordwest away on the Saturday in the Cup. We had Newport County away on the Wednesday in the Gwent Cup. And we had Monmouth at home the following Saturday in the league. And that was when Monmouth had just come up from the 3rd division and Dan McDonald was scoring 55 goals a game. And they were just smashing everywhere, right? So we've gone to Haverfordwest and we've lost 5-3. But it was 4-3 in stoppage time and they scored a late one.
Respectable.
But this is, remember what I said earlier about them not being realistic and not realising that it's no longer the team with a peak Jamie Jenkins in it and people like that. We go to Newport County on the Wednesday. and they put out the entire first team.
Anthony Hudson was manager. Now we were expecting to play the kids, and he came out and he walked up the two of us on Newport Stadium, walked down the tunnel and he went, "I'm really sorry boys, chairman's told me I've got to get a result or I'm getting the sack." The entire first team played.
The centre forward had played for Crawley Town in League One the year before, right? And there was one of them scored a hat-trick and it's gone 5-0. And the coach has gone like that to the player. He's gone, like, obviously trying to encourage him. And he's gone, "Can you do that?" And I thought, asking for 4. Yeah. And I've just looked at him and thought, mate, have a day off. These are all like Tier 3 Wales amateur footballers.
Well, you know, after you've done that, like after you've played a team like that, who are far superior to you, there wasn't like, "Unlucky lads, well done."
Oh no,
good effort. We were all a pack of.
I went in the clubhouse at Newport Stadium at the time, or the the little bar thing there, and Chris Evans, bless him. I by the way, before I tell any story about Chris Evans,
it's a free hit, surely it's a free hit.
Well,
game like that.
Yeah, but that's normal thinking. That's not blue coat thinking. And before I say anything about Chris Evans, I really enjoyed working with Chris Evans, who was chairman of Croesy. Got so much respect for him as a bloke. I just think he's one of the diamonds of Welsh League football, right? But he was quite hot-headed, and he probably described himself as that. And I went in the bar afterwards, and he went, "Wasn't very good, was it?" I went, "They're full-time professionals, Ev." And he went, well, still, didn't even look like scoring. I was like, "They're full-time professionals, Ev." Do you know what I mean? So anyway, Saturday comes. We're losing 1-0 to Monmouth Town with 10 minutes to go. And so I put an extra forward, try and get a result in it. Yeah. And they banged 4 in the last 10 minutes. Because once the second went in, the heads went down. Yeah. We walked in the football factory, the clubhouse, right? Mm. We walked in there and something was just different.
You walk in, it's like, "Oh, unlucky today. As you walk through the room, the door, everyone went. And we sat down by ourselves, sat down eating food, and I said, "I don't like this."
Yeah, sat down silent. No one sat with us. Yeah, because we'd never sit with the players anyway. We'd let the players lead the players.
Have a little chat with the
but there were conversations going on, and do you know my biggest mistake there? Right, I needed an assistant manager, and I let them persuade me to have a local hero as the assistant manager.
He's going to have your job in the end, isn't he?
Yeah, and that's what it was. Do you know what I mean? And
they've lined up your success.
You know, the worst thing for that is
when did he come in?
That summer.
So they were fucking lining him up.
No, halfway through the previous season.
Yeah,
halfway.
And I think
but again, it's not like he was coming in wanting it. When they got rid of me, they persuaded him to do it. So he's not a sneaky bloke, not like that. But I tell you who was in the background of it all. There's this guy called Craig Filer, and he was the son of a committee man, and he used to coach in Newport. He did a bit with the county, did a bit with Newport Civil. He wanted my job.
Did he?
100%. And we lost first game of the season in the cup away at Lloyd, and I could see he had a few of them after the game. Like that, and I just thought, you poisonous little shit. I won't be editing that out either.
I think the hardest thing, for me was that when he got a call, talk about this yourself, but when he got a call, he rang me and told me. I was like, right, okay. And he said there was training that night, and he said, "I'm not going. I'm going down over to Monkston. Do you want to come for a pint?" I said, "No, I'm going training."
Yeah.
And I went, "No, I'm going training because I want to speak to the players on our behalf because he didn't feel he could do it, and I want to fucking speak to the committee." So when I turned up, I was in fucking jeans. They're like, "What's going on?" And I went, "I'll talk to you after." Did the training, got everyone in the dressing room, read out a statement on his behalf, but said to the players. The mad thing with that is, I've said, thank you to all of you who've done everything for us. The club's made a decision that, Gareth's no longer in charge. I'm going as well. And they were like, "What do you mean?" I said, "Blood's thicker than water. I'm not staying here as a goalkeeping coach. I'm sorry. As great as a time as this has been, I'm gone as well."
Well, I'll tell you what meant a lot that night, though, because I actually ended up in town. That's how drunk I got that night. I ended up in town at 1 o'clock in the morning in some pub, right? And it meant a lot to me how many of the players contacted me that day to like not the sort of thanks for all you've done, but like genuinely shocked, didn't see it come in, didn't agree with it, whatever. Look, I'm sure there'd be players that would have agreed with it, probably the ones who weren't being picked, but that's fine. But it was that was a tough one to take for years, that was. And that's when I say my first one was Taswell. That was my second one, Croesyceiliog, and it took me a long time to be okay with what happened there. Because again, even though it was hard work with the Bluecoats, I think I'd have been there a long time.
Yeah.
If it had been my choice.
It's just like, you know, the game's developed, haven't it? Like you look at sides now in the Welsh Premier League that we were playing against, and how they've blossomed and how the structures are in place. But then it's like you look, your Croesys, your Taswells in this world. Like, I think when you give them a bit of success, I think sometimes
it becomes delusions of grandeur.
Yeah, they can forget. I just remember you sitting down with Don, going, Don, when we were finishing runners up in the league, like we probably should have won the fucking league. And I'd be like, Don, like, we have fucking punching.
Yeah, 100%.
Punching.
Yeah, you definitely will.
You've got Joey Evans, you know, on fucking 35 quid, like, Edwin thinks he's on 80, 90 quid, like.
Yeah, exactly.
And all that. And like, the budget we got is a fucking bottom 3 budget. Like.
But I was genuinely, like, bitter about that for a long time. Yeah. And again, I'm not going to say it was my age. I probably would have done the same today. But I fired bullets towards that club for years because it was almost like having a girlfriend that cheated on you. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I felt really bitter about that for a long time, and that is why I went to Cwmbran Celtic.
I was going to say
the
controversial bit comes next.
But that's the thing. But for 10 days, right? Do you know what? It's football wise. Not obviously life-wise, but football-wise, I don't think I've ever felt as low as I did when I left Croesyceiliog. I was just gutted, absolutely gutted, right? And my phone blew up for about 5 days. And I got offered 5 different roles within 48 hours of leaving.
Before we go on to that, I was going to ask you this as a manager. How many offers... You don't have to name them like the clubs, but how many offers did you get? Like
5 within a week. One of them was Celtic, but five within a week inquiries. Now look, one of those was like, "Oh, will you come and be joint manager with me?" Yeah. And it was Newport YMCA as they were then. I was just like, I don't think joint manager works personally. Like and look, that wouldn't be me anyway. I'd be a terrible person to be a joint manager with because I'm too stubborn. So, like, but, I mean, this is a mad one. Carl Evans was running Goitra in the 3rd division at the time. And he was just coming out of playing. Yeah. So he was like manager and he actually got in touch and said, look, come up manager, so I'll be a number 2. But you know what?
Were you tempted by that one?
I was because of Carl. Carl, right? But do you know what it was? They were the league below Croesy, and my ego wouldn't let me do it.
Was it?
That's what it was. Yeah. I felt the need to give him a bloody nose.
Would that be a regret? That coach job?
No, not because of how everything worked out. But no. Because again, would I have done as well as Carl as manager? Probably not, because I don't know a lot of those players that he brought into the club. So even though he would have been there, he would. I think he connected with them. So no, probably not.
So Celtic, the decision.
So anyway,
purely.
Do you know where it started? It started on Twitter, and when Croesy announced they parted company, not even like Gareth has left, we've parted company with. And I always remember Luke Sallis, Simon Prangley, a few of them on there from Cwmbran Celtic going, fucking hell, what do they want? The Champions League?
Yeah, basically.
And especially Prangers, to be fair, right? Because I know I have some digs at Prangers every now and again, but to be fair, like he was one of the ones reaching out, going, "Oh, Celtic need a manager. Fucking go over there," because he was playing for Goitra, I think, at the time. No, Bridgeman. Yeah. And then, so there was lots of noise around it, and then this was pure coincidence. I went to watch Aberdeen Town on the Saturday.
Who were they playing?
Cwmbran Celtic, right? So chins start wagging. It was nothing had happened at that point, and we were in the bar after the game. And I had to go and watch a game that day because that was the day Croesy were playing their first game without me. Penrith Khyber away, all the players were back, they won 2-0. Of course they did, they were a good team. And I was talking to Delachidi in the bar afterwards, and he went, "Why you come here?" And I went, "No, I don't think the Celtic committee be interested in me." I'm thinking, go on, offer me a fucking job. That'll be one in their eye, because it's the league above, isn't it?
Yeah.
Went down on the Tuesday, did an interview. They asked me a weird question about me on Twitter. And I went, pull up my feed. There's nothing on my Twitter feed that I'd be, "Oh, we heard you say this on Twitter." And I go, "Well, that's the beauty of Twitter. Everything I say on Twitter is on Twitter.
Yeah.
So you can look it up if you want."
Yeah.
so I'm there showing them how to look up my feed because they didn't know. Del used to call it twatter. We didn't get it at all. Oh. And yeah, I was appointed there. I went to training, went to the first game, and do you know what a great rebound relationship that was for me.
You done all right there, didn't you?
Yeah, he did well.
Della's a fucking legend.
Yeah, I did
He
well.
is Della, I like that.
But me and Della in the same dugout is not a good idea. There's no yin and yang there.
Yeah.
There's two screamers there. I'm a little calmer now than I used to be, but not much.
So
I said to him when we left.
Rodney was probably the calm one.
No, I said when we left Croesy, I just said to him, I said, I need to take some time away. I wasn't, and I used to go and watch games at Celtic. I loved it. I wasn't bothered.
See, because you were in the same league as Taffswell then, weren't you? Celtic.
Yeah.
So that's where my perception of you being far worse than me, having to listen to you and Delachidi chirping on. So I'm right in a way.
No chance was I worse than you.
Because
no chance.
Can you imagine him and Della?
No chance.
Both.
Do you know what? I would have fucking wet myself to watch you spit at Della.
But you know what?
I didn't even fucking at him. And I was in the stand after.
Cwmbran Celtic though, when you think that they're only round the corner from Croesyceiliog, right? You couldn't find a more different club, right? To welcoming someone in, making them feel at home, looking after them. I think, Christ, some of the people on our committee when I was there at Cwmbran Celtic, they couldn't do enough for you. Even when you were on a bad run of results, you never felt under pressure. It was a totally different experience.
Good boys there.
And I needed it. I really needed that. And do you know what? I needed Della as much as I needed anything after what had happened at Croesy. But I wanted to do things my own way. Got to the end of the season. We'd done well. We'd been unlucky in a semi-final. We fucking lost to a dodgy goal. And and I was all ready for the following season. We needed a couple of attacking signings, which I already had lined up. But I also wanted to bring in another coach. Not to coach anyone, because Delachidi's the best coach I ever worked with. He coaches the players. But me and him were just a little bit in your face. We needed someone that could sit in a corner and just go, listen, they don't mean it. You know they love you. We needed someone like that. And I brought someone in. Della didn't agree. And listen, those players worshipped Della and they sided with Della with it. And I got no problem with that. But so what I said in the end, Della was going to leave and all this. I said, look, the best thing for this club is that Della stays, all the players stay, and they're all going, yeah, but you can stay, just don't bring this other guy in it. And I said, look, I need to do it the way I want to do it. And if I can't, no problem, but I'm not the manager for you. So I stepped away from it. There was no hard feelings with it. I've seen all the boys ever since then. No problem. But it was just, I didn't want to be the guy that smashed that team apart because it had done so much for that club. They'd all come up through the youth, and it wasn't something I wanted to be responsible for, because I was too grateful for them for how they welcomed me, and I respected every one of those guys way too much to be the person that broke it apart. But having appointed a coach, I couldn't then, they all kick off unappoint him, because what happens next time they don't want him in. So it was just one of them, look, just cut it there. It was a shame. It was a shame, because I enjoyed it.
That is a shame, because it was a handy little side, that was.
Yeah,
with
it was.
Like you said, with a few.
Well, the problem we had, we were second in the league, and then we lost our centre forwards.
I'm sure I tried tapping a few up. What was the left back? Billy.
Yeah.
And
Cash Patel, you tried to get.
I tried tapping a few up. Sorry.
Yeah. Luke Salis.
Is that you admitted that, or was it Buttle?
I can now. Buttle.
Luke Salis was a brilliant player.
I just gave him the list.
But we played without a centre forward for a long time. Nana Bar got injured. Shane Williamson shot himself in the foot with a fucking shotgun. He was brilliant. Scott Llanwern got kicked out of the club. I didn't agree with the decision, but I didn't feel like I'd been there long enough to kick off. And our friend Mr. Prangley was with me for two weeks, I think, 2 games. So I want to tell you a story about Prangers, and it's not having a go at him, because this happened. And Celtic change room's not dissimilar to this. And it's we persuaded him to come back from Bryn Tillion, who were the champions at the time. And he's back, and it's his first game. And those who are watching on a camera, I'm at the tactics board before the game, and I've put Bryn Tillion out in the wing-back system that I expect him to start with, right? And I start to talk about the game. Of course, Prangers has not long left him, but the manager's speaking, innit? So there's the formation that I'm expecting him to go into. So I start talking with detail. And I go, so yeah, that's how I expect them to line up. No, I don't think they will, see. All right, son, I'll come to you in a minute. So yeah, talking about it, Hodgie, people like that. No, I don't think they will, see. Right. So leave it. He can't leave it, can he? Right. Before I know it, he's giving it all this on the fucking ball, right? I'm like, so trust me, right? That's how they're going to line up. Now, look, I know he was playing for them last week, but he doesn't realise I've also had conversations during the week, so I think that's how they're going to line up. It lasted 2 weeks, me and Simon Prangley. We were just like that.
He'll probably make a brilliant fucking manager one day.
He's encyclopedic about football. It wouldn't surprise me at all.
Probably will make a great.
Encyclopedic, tactically, Christ alive. He could talk about football from the moment he got up in the morning till he fell asleep at night and not come up for air.
I think my first ever...
The two of us just can't coexist. We're just, where there's just people that clash.
My first ever encounter with Simon Prangley, and I remember, Butler will remember this, is when we were joint managers at Corrie's, and Corrie's were playing, not Chepstow, the other one, Caldecott.
Oh, yeah.
And he was watching Caldecott, and he was on, and he came round to our dad, and he just kept staring at me. And I'm thinking, I was saying, the Butler, who's this fucker staring at me? Like, I'll fucking knock him out in a minute. And he started going on about badges. What badges you got? What badges? I said, I got a fucking Blue Peter one.
You've got to remember with badges, see, Prangers was a disciple of Della Chidi. And obviously Della's badged up to the eyes.
When we did mine, mate, he was good. Well, we had.
You know when you talk about team cohesion, sometimes, not for a long time, but in cup finals or something like that, team cohesion can win the day over quality. I lost Simon Prangley and Scott Llanwern in the same week, right? And we won the next 5 games, and we were second in the league. But then I lost my strikers, so we had no striker for months. Now look, we wouldn't have stayed second in the league, not at all. But yeah, it was such a disappointment because I rated him as a forward so much.
It's like you said, when he left Taft, he cost me the fucking league, end of story.
Yeah, but by the time I'm Celtic manager, see, people, because at the time I'm 33, 34, but I've been coaching 10 years by now. So I've kind of had those experiences of what I consider to be a bad apple. Other people might not, right? But in my taste, a bad apple, or someone that I'm going to clash with a lot, I know you've got to get rid of that person, even though they can be a brilliant player, which I think he was. So, yeah.
I think like because we had like such strong characters like Willows of this world and people like that, and they were able to
Probably, but
stifling as far as...
Yeah.
Because there's a couple of things I won't mention on you, like when he'd be asking, like, how much you want? And like, again, like the relationship I had, the likes of Willow and Harry come straight back to me.
Yeah.
I'd be in the change room, you were doing, like you said, you were doing your team's log, I'd be like, right then, now then, Simon, should we ask everyone in the change room? How much you want? How much you want? And so it was a bit like that, like.
So, 150.
Yeah. So that's how I
got around it.
It with him. Like, if he sat there, so it's sort of like...
How long were you out of Celtic before you then went into...
Was it Llanwern?
Llanwern, yeah.
What is it with Newport?
It was...
Mad, isn't it?
I think it was 2 days, I think.
He rang me.
2 days.
He rang me and he said, "Do you fancy a project in Llanwern?" I said, "Where the fuck's Llanwern?"
Do you know the mad thing?
2 days.
I finished at Celtic and I've got myself in this mind space of like, I'm chill now. I don't have to worry about pre-season and all that. I'm actually sat on the outdoor poolside down at David Lloyd Leisure. Right? Phone rings, from Llanwern. All right, have a chat. And I was a little bit like, not really. But at the time we were going on to 3G, which obviously didn't end up happening. And then the following day I met them down at David Lloyd's and they were like, yep, you can have whatever you want. And I was like, okay, what about, I want an hour and a half 3G training. Yeah, you can have it. And after Croesy and Celtic and all that, they were just, it was almost like if they didn't get a manager in the next 3 weeks, they might have folded. Yeah. So when you think about the tragedy that would have been, when you see what Newport City are now.
Yeah. Well,
But yeah, that was a hard summer, but it was enjoyable because the club was almost empty. There were a few players left, and a few of them left.
Scratch, didn't you?
Yeah, 2 committees.
So we could make it our team. Yeah. We had a committee of 2 that were so grateful we were there, and it was enjoyable for a lot. And then obviously the first season we got to semi-final against you.
I was going to say you got to a semi-final last season, didn't you?
And I mean that was a mid-table 3rd division team that we had then. We got to semi-final, lost to you. Barry Burstone, 1-0. And
is that where Sam stepped over the ball?
No, that was 2 years later. Finished about 6th. We were 3rd at Christmas, but I knew at Christmas we weren't going up because I turned up to the Christmas do. I think there were 5 people there. Christmas dues don't happen like that when you get promoted. Yeah. And but the following summer was big for us. We brought in a lot of very good players in the following year. Probably the most enjoyable football of any team I've ever coached the following year. We played some unbelievable stuff. Finished 2nd in the league to Barry Town. We should have won the league. We were 2-1 up against Barry Town, 3 games from the end of the season. Fucking John Cottrell flags for a free kick, 95th minute, I know. Ben Luck gives a great, nicks the ball, not a tackle, nicks the ball. John Cottrell, why are you flagging for free kicks, John? They put a free kick in, it's not even good. Liam Palmer does this to shield the ball out, it goes off his foot into the corner. We scored 2 own goals that night, drew 2-2, lost the point by a league to Gavin's Barry Town. But we got promoted, so that was great. And then following year, disaster of a summer again, uncommitted. Play and very good. So we had, I think, after 5 games we were in the bottom 3, and we ended up finishing 4th or 5th. So it shows you what a good team we were, because once everyone was back and fit, up we went. Difficult one. And then at the end of that season, Nicky Hooper was finishing. Dan Hooper, his fitness had gone. He got it back. Fair play to him. It felt like it was coming to an end, and I didn't want that Llanwern journey, having done so well for 3 years with him. I didn't want to.
Wanted to leave him on a good.
I didn't have it in me to build another team at that time.
It was also a double-edged sword, though, wasn't it? Because where we're saying there, we had 2 guys who were really supportive, and we could do whatever we wanted really within that club. We also ended up becoming part of the committee and having to raise funds, and then getting sponsors and getting stuff for free, and then the expectation is, we'll have that next year, and I'm like, hang on a minute, I can't keep going back to people.
The one I can't remember if I told you this one, but we beat Risca at home.
Oh, Dom.
Oh, no, that's another one. But we beat Risca at home, and it was us, Barrytown, Risca and Cwmbran United for 3 promotion places. And we beat Risca at home, and it was like, we're going to have to really balls it up to not go up now. And we've gone back in the clubhouse after the game, and Alan Watkins, he's got a face like a smacked ass. I'm like, you all right, Al? Because I used to talk to Alan a lot, do you know what I mean? I was like,
I like Alan.
And not everyone's cup of tea.
Yeah.
And he says, he's like, oh, well, problem is now next year, looks like we're going up. We'll have to play for a linesman as well now. But that's, you know, when you see what Newport City are now, when you, like, people, when I say, I managed Llanwern for 3 years, they're now Newport City, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm like, yeah, very different club back then, trust me. You know, we had some great laughs there, some great times, met some great people. If we hadn't been at Llanwern, I never would have met Liam Screen, who's an absolute lunatic. But had some brilliant times, some great laughs. But it felt like the end when we spoke to Richard Ryan. Richard Ryan said one of his experience from Trevelyan was you realise that sometimes in life things just come to an end. And whereas Croesyceiliog and Taswell, I still probably to this day feel a little bit cheated that it didn't end when it felt like that. Llanwern, it felt like the end, and then I thought I was going to have a bit of time out, and then you fucking got involved, recommending me to Hugh Jones at Porth.
Oh, Porth, yeah.
I was going to Chepstow, and he rang me and he went, "Don't. We gotta meet."
He's done a good job there, though, with Porth.
Yeah, we did okay. We get a lot of abuse up in Porth because we're perceived as being the ones that brought all the players in from outside, but there were no local players left.
You had to build from scratch.
Local players didn't want to know us.
Otherwise, they would have gone. That's right. Gone now, but they would have gone then.
Yeah,
they would have gone.
And that was tough going into that club because the locals had just gotten relegated with minus something points, I think, if I remember rightly. First game of the season, they'd lost 5-0 at Undy, and it was just like, look, something's got to change here. And we went in, first season, I still, you know when Mourinho says one of his best achievements is finishing second with United, I've still got finishing top of the bottom half, so 9th, with that Porth team in the first season as one of my best achievements. And Domo, who was obviously with us, Don Dwyer, says the same. All the wins, cups, leagues, cup finals, promotions, whatever. I think that was one of my best achievements. Finishing 9th with that team,
keeping them in the league,
was achievement.
Division 3 then.
Division 2.
Relegated.
Yeah.
They played the year before. They lost 29, drew 1, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
They got walloped.
And then the following year, we were going up. And then the club ran out of money, and then I think with 10 games to go, it went from can we win it, let alone going up, to can we finish the season so the club doesn't fold.
And we talked about it, didn't we? That you know, a lot of boys, tops included, stayed and played for us for those last 10 games. You know, fuck me, the last game of the season, we went to Ammanford away. We had a bare 11, and me and him on the bench. Yeah. Tyrone snapped his Achilles.
It was one of those clubs, false dawns, like Pontypridd back in the day.
Yeah.
Like it was like, I remember when I was playing like Porth, they would be chucking the money about, and Porth were the ones to go for. Yeah. But then it was always like, but again, you know, like the pattern on these clubs. And you know what? I used to have conversations with Norman, and I said to Norma, like after seeing what happened to my stag, first hand with Griff and Dawn. No one there to help them, and you've said similar things about the clubs you've been at. And I remember like the last year that Norm was. I remember sitting with a Costa at Asda's, and I said, Norm, I said you've got to bring people in. Like I said, or I said if anything ever happens to you, do you want the club going with you, sort of thing? And I remember just looking.
Well, Porth
sides that have been successful.
Was a similar thing, though, wasn't it?
The sides that have, like you said, Newport City, that have evolved. The Brintillion, Penabon. Do you know what I mean? The sides that have gone on and they've brought in people, they've brought in expertise.
You're right.
It's part of what I do for my job, though, is governance and leadership training. And you know, I think not anyone, but it's not as hard to have a club that thrives for 5 or 6 years. What's really hard is can it thrive for 20, 30? and not many people achieve that, to be fair. But I think the only thing two memories from my time at Llanwern, and they cross over into my my ability to let go of my Croesyceiliog stuff, and it was the first time we played Croesyceiliog, and I waited 3 years for this.
I love this.
And we're playing them at home on a midweek under floodlights. Of course, I am up for this fucking game, and we're 2-0 down half time, and we've been terrible. And I went in half time, and it's the only time I'm ashamed of what I said half time.
What do you say?
I can't repeat it.
Do it for me, boys.
No. I would have been happy with that. I was honest to God, it was bad. And Peter Fordham, the coach, who obviously went on to work for Liverpool and clubs like that, he was in the showers and he recorded it. So there's recordings out there somewhere.
I did. So what we used to do
it's about 3.5 minutes of me just going at people.
In every time where we were down half time, I'd go in the dressing room, I'd put a water in the middle, and I'd sit somewhere and I'd just be like, don't fucking look at him, right? Whatever you say, don't fucking look at him. I walked in, put the water down, I went in the shower around the corner, hiding with Peter, going, fuck.
Do you know what it was for me?
How many of those did you have those moments often then?
He did win a Croesy, he was world class. Remember that one?
See, people think of me like that because I shout and scream on a touchline. People think I'm like that in a changing room. And no, not many like that. But just to finish the Croesy link thing, right? Because, you know, I've said how gutted I was I left there and it stayed with me for a long time. But it was a definite day when I was able to let it go, or 2 days. And but this day, they beat us 3-0 in the end, right? And of course, I am not in a very good place with this now. And but what I said half time, I was a disgrace at half time. I got personal with people because the reason they were 2-0 up on us was we played on the back foot from the first minute. Yeah. They kicked off, they put one down the channel, and the left back is, instead of going and winning it in a local derby, he's dropped back, trying to take it on his chest. It's been pinched off him. It's one of them where we're on the back foot and they're running all over us. So is the manner of it. You know, if we're going to lose, I want to have a fight with them. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So anyway, they smashed us that night. But one of the last games of the season, I think it was the last game of the season, was away at Croesy, and it's the first time I've been back. And we've gone up there and we've won 2 or 3-0, and I've put a goalie on up front last 10 minutes. As a fuck you.
Mate, I'm sat on the bench. I'm sat on the bench as our goalkeeper, right? Now Ben Fletcher is a fucking specimen, right? Fletcher sat there next to me, right? And I'm going, it's 3-0, and I'm going, hey, you're going on, you are. In a minute, you're going on, right? And he went, sure. And Gareth looked at me and he went, get him a kit. And I literally went, put a kit on Fletcher. He went, what, I'm going to...
Yeah.
Mate, he went up front. He was a fucking handful up front as well, mine.
So anyway, I was still a little bit bitter, but of course you play the game.
A little bit bitter.
They treated me okay that day. Yeah. One of them shouted something at me. I shouted, "Go and polish my fucking statue." We had a bit of that, right? And then went back for the pint. I was feeling a little bit better about things, and then we went there. Following year, I'm with Porth. We went there and won with that not great side, won 2-0, and. The last year I went there, Della was now coaching at Croesy, and we've done them 5-0, right? But what it meant was I went back to the club. I was there for a long time. Della was there. All the people I'd kind of fallen out with all these years were all decent enough to me. I had chats with them, and I felt like I'd kind of
drawn a line.
When I drove away, I kind of felt like I'd left it there because I'd held on to that far longer than you should. And it was just pure disappointment, really, I think, of being told to leave when I didn't feel I'd done everything I wanted to. So look, I went on to have a lovely time at Celtic. We had a great time at Llanwern, a couple of years at Porth, and then came STM Sports.
I would say STM.
Yeah, and again, for both of us, I think STM felt like the perfect fit. It felt like we were coming home. You know, I could walk to the game. Yeah. I could have a few pints after the game and just walk home, or get a taxi for £2 or whatever because it's that close. And they were a good side. They were a side that had reached a certain level, but they hadn't been promoted the year before when they should have in the 3rd division of the Welsh League. And it all just felt like it came together at the right time. And no, we were in the 2nd division, weren't we? 2nd division of the Welsh League, but they'd missed out on promotion. And when I came in, they were, we need organising, we need to be better defensively. And it was hard fucking work from the start, really. It was, my culture and their culture was, let's play 5-a-side in our own 6-yard box. And my philosophy is clear the fucking thing, you dickhead. Right. So, but we found a balance in that sense. So, where Pep Guardiola says to his teams, not that I'm anything like him, obviously, but you give me the defensive 2/3 and I'll give you the final third, do what you want. Yeah. That's what he did with Barcelona, at least, anyway. I had to settle in the end for, you give me our penalty area and you can have everything else, right? So it was, but anyway, long story short, we were 2 points off top of the league. We've gone out of all 3 cups to lower league teams.
We lost to Penydarren twice.
We lost to Penydarren away twice before the 3G. But Penydarren, it was the year Penydarren won the Alliance League and beat Pontypridd on the telly in the Welsh Cup because we were early in the season. Yeah. So they didn't appreciate, all they saw was lower league side. Right. And of course I was out there kicking the ball, so it was my fault we lost. Couldn't be the players. So we're out there, and they're all like, after the game we lost down there the second time, they're all like, it's fucking, moaning about the style of play. And Don Dwyer was injured that season, so he was just the assistant, not a player assistant. And he's like, Ash, when you fucking booted that ball over the stand, did anyone tell you that that's what we want you to do?
So was it the players were having a moment?
It was everywhere, mate. It was everywhere. Politics. Yeah. But anyway, it was 2 points off top of the league, January, and then we went out of the cup to Trevelyan. Trevelyan, on the way up, guess what happened at the end of that season? Trevelyan won the fucking cup. They beat Llanelli in the final. So, again, they couldn't have been bad, could they? And but just bad luck with that. And then I just got a phone call one day, Gazer was passing on the message that it was like, no, they're gonna make a change and all that. But you know what? When I was gutted about Croesyceiliog?
Yeah, you weren't.
I didn't give a shit. And that and I didn't know, it wasn't like I didn't care, but when I was told, I didn't care.
It didn't bother you.
No, if you'd asked me the day before, what would you do if they sacked you tomorrow? I'd be fucking gutted. Because, of course, I'm thinking, we'll win a league here. But just didn't happen.
There's a big thing with that, though, isn't there? Whereby a lot of, you think all the clubs have gone into, Croesy, we built something from nothing. Llanwern, we built from nothing. Yeah. Porth, we built from nothing. Celtic, you've gone in and you've had a wicked culture to work within and a wicked group. There, it's almost like we've gone in inheriting it, and people have talked about us and STM together to go for a long time.
You players in, though, didn't
you? Yeah, I did all right. It's funny because one of the reasons I got a lot of abuse, usually when I'm on there, but Joe Quenney we brought in, who until he smashed his knee in, they loved. Big Z we brought in. All of a sudden, as soon as I left, Big Z was great. Ben Arman we brought in. We're bringing him in from Caldicott. He's shit. Plays Welsh Premier League. Plays in Europe now, lads. That's how shit he was. Callum Bateman came in my time.
Welsh Premier League again.
You done all right to me?
Yeah.
Galton. Chris Galton. Not bad players really, but look, they went on to do really well after me, and the people that came in, it just suited that group of players. But do you know what? When I looked back on it with STM and Celtic, even though I really enjoyed Celtic, I don't think I'm suited to taking over a good team. I think I'm best suited to taking over something in an absolute hole and building it from there. I don't think I'm suited to taking on a great side or a very good side that's already close-knit. And that's just down to personality, skill set, whatever. But, all these experiences, if you'd said to me, you'll do all of those things in the Welsh League as a coach and as a manager, but the most joy you'll get in your footballing life will be with Llanrumney, who turned you down all those years ago, I would have said you were mad. Do you know what I mean? But I don't know what it was when we left STM, because it was not just me. it's me, it's Rod, it's Dom. You know, people know that pretty much where we go, Sam Archie will probably go, Galton will probably go. So we were quite attractive to the marketplace, I would have said back then. And then I just had this thing. It was just something in me. Dom was going, "Oh, which of all these options should we?" And I went, "You know, the only one that tickles me at the moment's Llanrumney." And Dom thought I was mad. Did he? He couldn't find Llanrumney in the league tables. He went, "Where the fuck are they?"
Well, it's the old pitch.
And it was one league above Parks football, which is obviously where they're back to now. And I went and watched it, and I just thought, wow, how has this club ended up here? Because I kind of lost sight of them for years. And when, you know, Leighton Martin and Stitz and Shanners and people like that are trying to get me to come back. And it just happened. I don't know, I still don't quite know how I got roped in like that.
Well, Domo and I came back to play while you still weren't really...
We were working on the club.
You were working in the background, Stitch was managing.
Yeah.
Domo and I came back to play.
Yeah.
Did the Great Escape.
Yeah.
We had the Great Escape to stay up. And then then you could fucking...
See, me looking outside, I still think, I know you've taken on chairman and all that. I still think you've got something to offer.
Not at Llanrumney.
No?
Not as manager. I don't think I'd manage him again, purely because I don't think you could ever replicate what we achieved.
No, I agree.
The first season, we win the double.
Yeah.
The second season, we get promoted.
Yeah.
The third season, we make the cup final. And then I still don't know to this day if I regret finishing as manager with Llanrumney, because I was coming to the end of my tether with this generation of player. You know, but we were second in the league when I finished. And I just had enough of lads wanting 2 weeks off because their head was in the shed. And we're not talking here about genuine like mental health problems, because I know as much as anyone, like, that shit's real. But just like, you know, I split up with my girlfriend, I need 2 weeks off. And you're like, you've only been with her 6 months, you nugget. What do you mean? Get out on the football pitch, blow out the cobwebs, try and forget for an hour and a half. But it was things like that. And I think I was on my fourth player that had a week or two off because they just, you know, their head was in the shed. They're 19, 20 years old, like living at home with their parents. And it was just, it wasn't like that I thought, oh, they're bad people. I just thought these are just different.
It takes its toll on you.
I said to Gareth in the January when Goltz got injured, and we talked about a lot, you know, we had a wicked working relationship whereby I knew I could have him ready for a game, but he would never, ever answer back. He'd never go, like, I don't want to do it. And then when you lose him, and then you've got a young player who just, my back hurts. Can I do half the session? He's like, I said, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
You're either in and you fucking do it properly, or you're out.
Yeah.
And it's like the player, I can't do that.
They're not better or worse, they're just different.
Yeah.
But I think nowadays, I think someone like we've got a Llanrumney now, Plummer, is a great person to be able to unite that generation of person. He gets them, you know, he gets an extra bit out of them, whereas not so much for me. Whether I'd ever manage again, I don't know. I think I'm at the stage for me where it would have to be something sexy. Do you know what I mean? And I don't mean like come and take over this brilliant side, because I don't think I'm suited to that. I think for me it would have to be like, here's this sleeping giant, here's what we're doing, you know, here's the budget, all of that sort of stuff. And it would almost need to feel like it felt when I went to Llanwern, when I came here. You can do what you want, but win. Yeah. You know, that was the... Yeah. So I don't know if that will ever come up again. What old am I now? 48? 47? I can't remember how old I am. 48.
48. You're 48 this year?
Yeah, so 48. I mean, it's not old, because I've been around a long time, but, you know, I was a first team manager at 30.
Yeah, I was going to say,
but so, who knows? You know, my kids are older now. I got a job that means that I could do it if I wanted to, but I wouldn't. Whereas, like, I always wanted a job. Right, I'll be out for a few months, but I want to get back in. I don't feel like that now at all. if I ended up doing what I'm doing now with Llanrumney for years, while Plymouth's taking him up through the leagues, fine. But if he wanted to go in a different direction one year, I wouldn't feel offended anymore with it. Yeah, we'll see, I suppose. But yeah, I think everyone thought I was going to finish at the end of this year with Llanrumney and then go and do something else. But I enjoyed working with him. He's a nutter, by the way. He's a nutter.
Absolute fucking head.
Right? I can't get sent off in the dugout with him because
he's worse.
He's worse. And I got to, obviously we're at the end of the journey now in terms of where I've been and stuff, but I got to mention Pencoed. Again, leaving Llanrumney when I did in football, in terms, you know, there was a lot of shit spread by some people that, frankly, that I thought had more respect for this club, let alone me at the time, that led to me just going out the door, football-wise. And Pencoed sort of gave me the love for it again. And brilliant guys, brilliant management team to work with. I was with them for, what was it, about 15 months, something like that. But it's just one of those, just one of those experiences that if I didn't have that, I might not have ever done football again. So I'm really grateful to him for that.
It's where I live. It's a proper community. That's what it is. It's a proper community club, is what it is.
Yeah. And genuinely, if I lived in Pencoed, that would be the type of club I'd be at for years and years and years, because they're just brilliant people, like, brilliant.
For me, it was like doing the kids, because I hated drivers. Being never to do. And obviously, doing the kids football brought my enthusiasm, so I get that. Totally get it.
So you brought that full circle. The one thing we haven't obviously talked about, I have got a couple of questions for you at the end. We've purposely left this till now.
Referees.
Off you go.
Come on.
Wow,
I'm intrigued by all these episodes.
Where do I start?
Well, you don't name the name.
Well, he is going to name the name.
Come on. Who I think it is.
I've edited some names out sometimes. Well, what do you want to know? Because me and referees have got a long history. Some of which I regret, some of which I'll take to the grave that I wasn't in the wrong. But we all get excited on touchlines, don't we? Right, so I think that's the place to start. Have you got any specific story that you're thinking about?
Yeah. Your favourite referee?
Oh, Chris Haynes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Chris Haynes. Where do I start with Mr. Haynes? So look, I'll tell true stories, which are why that I am probably not the greatest fan of Chris Haynes. And I was going to say, I'm sure he says the same about me. I know he does. So the first, I've never liked his attitude or his persona on a football pitch.
I agree.
He was the first referee that I ever saw that strutted around a football pitch acting like he's hard that I've ever seen, right? Speaking to people in a manner that if he did it in a pub, he would be filled in the toilets. Anything I said untrue so far?
I remember.
Because I don't want to say anything that's not true.
No, I remember what he said to Nick Hooper on the pitch.
But that was the incident where it really crossed over from me just not really liking his style, because I'm sure he thinks I'm a knobhead in the dugout as well. And he's got every right to say that, right? Because no problem. Yeah. But there was a game at Llanwern, and we're talking here about people like Sam Hartree, who you know, Nick Hooper, who you know, Dan Hooper, who you know. None of them are snarling, horrible, thick men, are they, right? They're all nice, you know, I mean, in Nick Hooper and Sam especially, sorry Dan, you know, they're very intelligent men that are not aggressive, horrible people at all, right? And they came off at half-time in a game we were winning easy, 2-3-0 half-time. And they came in the changing room half-time, and Nicky Hooper, who's a moaner, but usually about decisions he's not getting and whatever else. And Nicky came in half-time, and he pulled me to one side, and he'd never done it, and I've known Nick since he was quite young, right? And he went, "You won't believe what that referee is saying to people out on our pitch," right? And I've gone, "Go on." And he said to it in the first half, Nicky's gone down. Nicky could hit the floor quite easy, couldn't he, right? But he's been clattered or tackled or fouled or whatever, right? And Nicky's on the floor, And he's like, oh, referee, like that. And Chris has said to him, and I got 5 witnesses for this because we actually wrote to the FAW. Only time I've ever done that in my life. And he said, he looked at Nick and he went, fucking hell, you need to fuck your missus out of you. Right? Now, you know if Llanrumney came off on Saturday and the referee, they said the ref had said that, I would be saying, probably somewhere in the middle is the truth there. Nick Hooper is not that guy. And Sam Archie was like, yeah, that's what he said. No. And 2 of the opposition players said that after the game, they went, yeah, he did. And he was saying, it was almost like he was trying to goad Nicky Hooper
reaction
to say something. Because you know what he's like, he goads, out comes the carding, there's a white paper. And Llanwern wrote officially to the FAW and complained about him. Of course he denied it, of course he did. Nothing happened, of course it didn't. But anyway, I didn't actually encounter him then until a year later, maybe 2 years later, when we were at Porth. And we've got Llanelli. Llanelli. Yeah. Llanelli need a point to be champions. We are 9th and we're chuffed to be 9th. And no, it wasn't to be champions, sorry, that was the following season. We beat them when they got off the bus. We beat them.
Bev's got off the bus, looked at those flats that were derelict and was like, what the fuck is this? Yeah,
Dowie scored, didn't he? So anyway, before the game, Ian Hollyoaks on the line, always got on great with Ian, a lot of time for him as a bloke and as a ref. And I chatted to him before the game. Chris Haynes is in the middle and he turns up. And there was something going on. I can't remember what it was. Something was going on. I'd heard something coming out of the changing room or whatever. He was telling them this story. That's what it was. He was telling them, they claimed I said this. Yeah. And you fucking did say that, right? So anyway, he's heard something shouted from somewhere.
But you know what those dressing rooms are like at Porth.
Yeah. But by now, I'm in the stand, right? And the reason I'm in the stand is I'm stood with the Llanelli secretary and I've heard this coming through the window, out. So and I'm sat in the stand at the point someone shouted something in there. And it might have been from Llanelli's children. Yeah. And I'm actually emailing 2 referees that I know so that there's a timestamp. He's going to try and do me today. I've just heard him, he's going to make something up. And I sent it with a timestamp before the game, right? White paper. I was in the dressing room and Mr. Morgan shouted through, you know what you fucking said, you this and that, blah, 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 right? And I've still got all the paperwork for this, by the way. So if anyone tries to claim that this is not factually true, I've still got it all. And he's, so it all comes through. But anyway, Ian Hollyoak, bless him, did me a great favour. He also wrote a report.
Wow.
The report of Ian Hollyoak completely contradicted everything in Chris Haynes' report.
Fair play to him.
So he wasn't saying nothing happened, but he said, I heard something shouted, it sounded along the lines of and it was different language to what Haynes had put in his report. So of course, you're going to take on a stubborn bastard like me, you better have your facts right. Yeah. So I just pointed out, well, if you take Mr. Haynes' word for this, this and this, he has no corroboration because Ian Hollyoak says this and this. Anyway, I got a letter back, no action. So I wrote back to him, I said, and what's going to happen now that he's been proven to have lied? And they said, well, he hasn't proven to lie, there's just not enough evidence of like one of them. Yeah. But I just got a real problem with how he is out on that pitch. People say, what do you think of that referee guy? And they throw the hook out. It's just not his decision making, because actually if you watch him, his decision making is pretty good. Right? Everyone makes mistakes. We do as managers, players do. Yeah. But his ability to get around the pitch, to be in good positions, his decision making, no problem with him at all. But I just think your attitude towards other people out there, it's not appropriate for a referee. That's my view on it. And
well, I've as you know, I've been on the
receiving end. Do you know the other thing as well? I know we talk about before we wrap it up is we talk about like VO and stuff now as well. sure, that helps with a lot of the stuff that goes on. Now, I know it doesn't pick up anything if you're other side of the pitch, but from an evidence perspective, if things are going on, said, have happened, haven't happened, it's all now on video. It's not, you know, think of what could have happened there if Ian wouldn't have put in that report of what was coming.
Those fines are fucking ridiculous.
But also, and it's the one argument,
500 quid fine.
it's the one argument which we've always said with it. You'd say, well, you know, with Porth, the way that those dressing rooms and everything are, they're all interlinked. You don't know what comes from where, but also behind a closed door, you don't know if it's him talking on me.
Exactly.
The other thing with that, with wrestling in general now, not Chris, because thankfully we don't cross paths anymore, because he's at a far higher level than me, and I'm sure that'd be the first thing out of his mouth if he ever heard about it, right? But
when he watches this.
But the you know, I've had other cases where I've had to take on a wrongful decision against me by a referee, thankfully that was on camera and all sorts of stuff. That was just a genuine mistake. I can still remember it happening at Risca. I got sent off and I'm like, what are you talking about? I didn't say anything then, but it was all on camera and it all got cleared up. It was a genuine mistake by a young referee that genuinely thought that I'd shouted something, and it was, you know, Risca's stand. It's mad, isn't it? And so, look, it all gets cleared up, no problem, no hard feelings about it. We all make mistakes. But, yeah, that was on purpose that day. Because I wasn't even there to have shouted anything. So rather than reporting someone had shouted something and the club being in trouble, which I think he would have been within his rights to do, he said, Mr. Morgan did this. And I thought, no. But by the time you think I'm shouting, I'm sat in the stand saying you're going to stitch me up.
But that's come as a fallout from something of a complaint, the sort of genuine complaint.
Oh yeah, but it's like you said, everything leading, like you said. So
and so I don't know, just to wrap it up, I don't know if you've got any questions that come in directly for you, but one thing I've been asked to ask you to confirm or deny. Was there once a cup final where you were on 29 goals for the season, you could have got 30, you had a t-shirt on underneath saying 30 just done it, your team won 5-0, you didn't score?
Correct. I bagged one the following week in the last league game, it was fine, t-shirt still got used.
See you, Keith Morgan.
So I was fuming. You know, it became one of them. Once you're 2-0 up at half time, as a strike, you become obsessed with wanting the goal then, don't you? Instead of just playing the game and it'll come to you, you go chasing in, you go, stupid. But I scored the following week anyway, so
you got to use
it. Exactly.
Yeah, but he didn't do it on a big stage.
Wow. Fucking goal's a goal.
Yes, indeed.
Goal's a goal. I think still a medal though, wasn't it?
I think unless you've got any other questions for him, Bridge, I think we've wrapped that up nicely.
No, I suppose
trip down memory lane for you there, kid.
It's been
good, that.
It's been cracking. Thanks for having me back to co-host.
I know.
And listen.
Next time you get your hat-trick ball now.
I know.
Next time. we'll have to triple team Darren Bottle.
Bottle, get on you, mate. Get on you.
He won't come on, he's scared.
Tell us what the wines and you're tapping up of players.
Yeah, just get the scroll out of that, has it?
Yeah, but no, it's been good. Obviously, we've been with Rhodri in the first series. We're always going to do mine in the second series at some point. But it's always good to look back and talk about things you've done and
keep up the good work, chaps. I'm gonna have to come back in the next series because I missed out on fucking loads. We could talk all night. We could go on all night.
My bad.